Justice has been served slightly. Karmelo Anthony has been posted on bail. He's out on bail right now, and a lot of the suspected white supremacists, a lot of the coons, a lot of the tethers, everybody is triggered at this accomplishment. They're triggered at the sight of justice, at the threat of justice for Karmelo Anthony.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. I appreciate that you guys have waited for me. I had some technical issues or whatever. I've had some technical issues. But I appreciate you guys. I sincerely do. Thank you all so very much. I really do. But we got much to discuss, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you guys are already hitting that like button. I hope that you do. Now, we already previously covered this, so I'm just going to cover it again. I'm just going to do it, for the people who have not seen our last live. We already discovered that Karmelo is out on bond, as he should be. This is Karmelo Anthony. Our brother Karmelo has reached the bond after it was lowered thanks to an on-code judge. So he's out right now. And this is the video of him walking to his vehicle. Now you see this suspected white supremacist lady go up to him and shove this microphone in his face and essentially harassing him, but that's typical of their type of people. It's very typical. All right. Nobody is surprised by this action. It's unfortunate, but nobody is surprised. Okay. So, yeah, he's in there. He's home where he should be. And that's a really good sign. That's a really, really good sign. All right. Thank you all for being here with us. Thank you all for being here with us. So, yeah, she harassed him. Now, they made bail. A lot of people are triggered by the fact that this judge, shout out to, can we get flowers in the chat room? Can we get flowers? Not flowers. Let's give a black fist. Let's give a black fist in the chat room for Judge Angelina Tucker, who reduced the bond. Now, the bond was reduced because there's logically no reason it should have been $1 million in the first place. There's logically no reason at all. I mean, clearly, that was unnecessary. That was very, very unnecessary. Clearly, it was. But she reduced it, so shout out to her for that. And now he's home, so now he can prepare himself for the trial that he necessarily shouldn't be in, but he's preparing himself. So this is a good sign that justice is coming. This is a good sign that the family and the community were doing the right thing by backing him up. And let me tell you, the fact that he's supported this much, the site, because this case is very important because it sets a precedent. It sets a precedent for self-defense when it comes to black people. It sets a precedent for not being accosted and harassed and assaulted by Kens and Karens. It also sets a precedent for us as the community. It sets a precedent that we as the community, we can lock in, especially when it comes to our youth, especially when it comes to the children, that we'll lock in and we'll protect them. We'll look out for them. This sets a wonderful precedent for that. All right. But people are upset. Now, before we get into it, because there's a lot of people already rolling in. Before we get into it, as you guys are hitting that like button, which I hope you guys are doing, I would appreciate if you guys are doing that. I'm going to play the copyright disclaimer so it can be established that everything we play thus forth is under the guise of fair use. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so since the bond was probably inevitable that he was going to make bond, especially with the rate that the Gifts and Go was raising. Shout out to you all again for that. The Gifts and Go was raising an incredibly fast amount of money, money at a very fast rate. All right. All of the evidence was kind of leaning towards his side. So everybody predicted that he was going to make bail. Everybody predicted that he was going to go home and that the trial, because now we have official evidence that there is multiple videos. So now that there are videos, and nobody has seen these videos, nobody's seen the videos, but based off of what we do know, based off of the testimony of the twin brother, based off of his conflicting stories, based off of the conflicting stories of him and then his father, and then the conflicting story that he gave to the police report, the police and the police's other witness testimony. So a lot of people are saying that, yeah, all of the evidence is looking like it's going to benefit Karmelo. Let me tell you, these suspected white supremacies have been triggered by that. Let me play this real quick.
There's only so much the Trump administration can do, and the vibe that we're getting about the problems in the black community and the bullshit of racism and all that crap. There's only so much, and they're not going to back down. We see what's happening with this what's his name, Karmelo Anthony nonsense. That
Italian guy.
He murders. Karmelo Anthony. He murders a white kid, and instantly. The whole fucking dialogue here from the black community is that it has to be self-defense, because why else would a black kid stab a white kid unless he was being attacked and oppressed and racist? So, this shit'll go on forever.
I think they're saying that, though, the way you would about your brother. If your brother killed someone, you're lying. You're knowingly lying. He called him a nigger. He shoved him.
He just very casually just dropped the N-word. I mean, hard ER and everything like that. He didn't say N-word. They didn't even bleep it out or nothing like that. That's just very casual. All right, that's a sign right there. Just listen.
It was self-defense. They don't think it was self-defense. I think so? A lot of the far right, radical right, they blame the Jews and they brainwash these blacks and hating whites. I don't think that's the case. I think if you talk to blacks all over the fucking world, they're going to be about the white man has taken away everything by cheating and lying to us and using the voodoo. I hate the white man. And I think it might be, I don't know, genetic. Well, everyone is racist.
So he says genetically, he's implying that genetically black people hate white people all around the world, just genetically. This is okay. All right. And we're going to let him go. We're going to let him continue.
White man.
This is the conversation. These are the type of conversations that they have behind closed doors.
Has taken away everything by cheating and lying to us and using the voodoo. I hate the white man. And I think it might be, I don't know, genetic. Well, everyone is racist but whites, really. And
everyone is racist but whites. Okay. Now, let's let him explain how that works. How is everybody racist but white people?
You talk to like an old Korean man about fucking Japanese people. Like we're the least tribal people there are. Constantly being accused of being the most racist.
Detriment. Yeah.
So
we should.
I think just them. There's a large contingent of blacks that just hate our guts, and they have this like when a cop kills a guy. We go, all right, like say it was a white guy. We go, what was he doing? Oh, he had a machete and he was coming at the cops. And we're like, bye-bye.
Oh, well,
you're not part of my.
See, the whole least racist group thing, he didn't really elaborate on that. He just kind of said that and went a million miles an hour. Now he's on to another subject. Okay, now he's talking about the cops.
The group anymore. I don't have your back. But with blacks, it's like someone from the blue team killed one of my guys. I hate the blue team. And they know the guy had a machete and he was charging the cops. They don't give a shit about that. That's a very unique thing in our world.
And there doesn't seem to be any indication that there was a physical altercation at this event where this kid was stabbed. I'm sure stuff will come out, but there was no weapon. There was no other weapon.
Right.
The kid had no bruises on him from a fight before he had to stab this white kid in a crowd of other kids that were oppressing him or telling him to move. Like they're trying to, pull this Rosa Parks nonsense where, he sat down and they told him that, you can't sit there. And they try to conjure up this racist angle where because he's black, he couldn't sit where he wanted to sit. And, it's all bullshit. These events, you hang out with your own clique. If you're under one of these tents, it's all your people. You're bullshitting, you're busting balls, you're having some drink, whatever you're doing. And then someone comes up and sits down. You're like, excuse me, that seat's taken. Someone's sitting there. This is our group. We sit here. Even if, hey, leave, go fuck your mother. Stabbing someone to death, that something really has to escalate from hey, move. You're not supposed to sit there, to a guy getting stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, but they're not going to admit the fact that, and this is the thing, they're not going to admit the fact that the person who escalated this situation was Austin. Austin, even according to his brother Hunter, Austin is the one who initiated the situation. Really, it was Hunter, according to himself. Hunter is the one who initiated the situation. And then Austin's the one who interjected. He got into it. And then he escalated the situation that him and his twin instigated. And then they took it to a physical level. And this is what they're saying. Oh, well, he just told him to move. And then next thing you know, he just got charged at and attacked. Now, we know that's not what happened. But let's let him. He's going to get worse.
Yeah. And I haven't heard anything so far. Something might come up, but I doubt it. It would have already. There's been no indication that anyone was threatening this black kid in any way, and certainly not threatening him to the point where he felt that the need to use deadly physical force was necessary to just save his own life. So the self-defense thing looks pretty weak at this point.
We all know what it is. He said, don't put your hands on me. Don't touch me. And he went like, relax, pal. Just get the fuck out of here or something like that.
Don't touch me. We see it all the time.
Who's fucking laughing now?
Yep.
You disrespected me. Yeah. We were talking yesterday about like the song Colors, Ice-T song. Every problem I got, I just put my fist in. Reality is a knife. So this bullshit culture has been going on for a very long time. It's cool to stab people who disrespect you because tomorrow doesn't exist. So as far as today goes, no one's fucked with me and I'm a winner.
10 seconds doesn't exist. It's a 10-second buffer. I swear to you.
I was saying on my show, I was like, we have like tailgating at Mets games. The idea of me shimming into a chair and sitting down and just be like, are there any more hot dogs? Is just unfathomable. But I got a lot of emails from people in the Midwest and the South, and they go, no, it is like that here. You just mingle and you come over and you talk and stuff, probably because they're all, of a similar group. But then I got an email from South Carolina where this guy goes, home of the Ant-Man.
Of course.
This guy goes, black people, when I was younger, when I was a teenager at games, black people would drop off their kids 8 to 12 at these events, and the kids would just run around eating hot dogs, playing Xbox. And because we're so cordial, we go, what's up there, buddy? Oh, you want to play Xbox? Yeah, sit down. And they would eat hot dogs, drink Coca-Cola, and never say thank you, not even acknowledge us as the hosts.
Well, it's kind of how it's been for quite some time.
Yeah.
The host.
Now y'all just, first off, I'm not from South Carolina. I'm not. Going to be honest about that. So maybe South Carolina does something that I'm unaware of. Maybe South Carolina has a different culture. Is anybody in the chat room from South Carolina? Can somebody please, who's from South Carolina, lived in South Carolina, can somebody please contest to this? Because I think as far as just being a part of the lineage, I feel like generally we do not just leave our children, just drop them off and then just go someplace else in the company of just white people and have white people just feeding them hot dogs and bologna sandwiches with a lot of mayonnaise and Capri Suns and everything like that. And the kids just don't say thank you at all. And then the black parents who are done just doing whatever they were doing, they just come over and they just grab the kids back. And black kids just feel so entitled. They just run over to white people's spaces and just start eating their hot dogs and stuff like that. Does this seem realistic? Does this seem like at this point, they're literally, this is what I was talking about before, where they have to conjure up and make things up to make it seem as if black people are worse than what the narrative actually, what the truth actually is. The black people are worse and white people are really the victims in the situation. All right. Now this happened before the bail. After the bail, I'm telling you, everybody lost their damn mind. So everybody knows he made bail. Thank God he made bail. We have a lot of people in here, short amount of time. I hope you guys hit that like button. I really do. If you guys haven't, you guys still have time to do so. I can tell you one thing before we move on. My parents barely allowed us to spend a night anywhere. Me personally, me and my siblings, my parents barely allowed me to spend a night anywhere. My parents were very protective. Okay, there were some of my friends were able to spend nights at our house, but we weren't allowed to spend nights at their house. And at the times damn near we were allowed to spend nights at their house, my parents was there the whole time. They damn near stayed until it was time for us to go to sleep, and then they was there first thing in the morning. I'm trying to tell you, like, parents just, At least mine. I can speak for mine. I can't speak for everybody's, but I can speak for mine. But I know damn well we not just dropping our kids off at all to no strangers, especially white strangers at a park, and being all like, you know what, Jamal, I'm gonna come back around 5-6 hours. I'm gonna come pick you up. We have some. They have plenty of hot dogs and stuff like that, and tater tots and stuff. Go have fun. Yeah, okay. At this point, they're just making stuff up to be mad at black people about. But going back to the bail, they're so upset. They're out here triggered. Look at this. Charlie Kirk had this to say. Oh, damn. I thought it says Karmelo Anthony brutally murdered Austin McCaff, and the support from him in the black community is growing. Murdering a white kid in cold blood seems acceptable to some. This person also says, if you can look here, now this is an emoji, but it's saying, this is why we used to hang. This is a noose right here. This is a knot. So this is implying this is why we used to hang niggas. Okay. So a lot of people out here saying that, he needs to be hung and lynched and all of this and that. They're out here threatening him, threatening the judge. A lot of people out here doing that. Let me show you something real quick. Hold on. They're out here threatening the judge so much so that the judge had to boost up her security. So we're going to look at this article real quick. Shout out to the Cash Apps. I'm going to get to y'all in just a second. Hold on. So it says Karmelo Anthony judge in murder case gets added security. FBI investigating threats. Mind you, this is a whole judge. What happened to respecting the law? What happened to respecting law? What happened to that? Okay. Now they would tell us all the time, well, it's not a perfect system, but it's the system that we have. So you just got to go along with the system, and that's just what we got to do. And that's just, you guys just got to stop complaining. And that's just how it is. So it says, the judge who reduced Karmelo Anthony's bond this week is getting some added security, TMZ Sports has learned, after law enforcement says she has been the recipient of threats following the key decision in the murder case, which was to, why is my thing freezing? I'm telling y'all, I got these technical issues, to lower the bond. It says the Collin County Sheriff Office told us Tuesday it's beefed up protection around Judge Angelina Tucker in the wake of her Monday choice to lower the alleged high school track meet killer bail from $1 million to $250,000, which $1 million is incredibly excessive anyway. And nobody can say it's not excessive given the circumstances that there's no way he could have been a flight risk or anything like that. It says the CCO said, court staff and concerned citizens reported the menacing remarks made against the official, and now its team of investigators as well as the FBI are probing the matter. So they're so upset that they're out here threatening to unalive, to kill this judge. I don't even want to sugarcoat it. I want to, but I don't want to. They're out here threatening to take this judge's life away from her for not letting him go free, for giving him bail. Just for the fact that he has bail, they're willing to take her life. Okay? They're out here losing their minds. Out here just losing their minds. Let me show you some of the clips. About it. Because then as he got into the car, let me show you. First off, let me get this off the screen. When he got into the car, everybody. And it turns out, and this is something that we've known for a while, it turns out the family is well off. The family has, I think, one of the parents is a lawyer. The other parent is like, I know one is a lawyer. I think another one is a doctor or something like that. But the family is well off and has been well off for a long time. Has had a very nice house, has had a very nice apartment, had very nice things for a very long time. They're triggered about that. So they're out here going around. Let me show you. They're out here going around spreading propaganda that Karmelo is sitting up here. Hold on. Let me move that out the way. You know how StreamYard be doing. They're out here spreading propaganda that Karmelo is buying homes with the legal defense fund. that the family. It says update to the Karmelo Anthony family. They raised 500,000. That's untrue. They raised at least with the gifts and go. They didn't. They raised 500,000 in quote legal defense and moved to a mansion. Bought a Cadillac Escalade and got Karmelo some new kicks. So they were able to find the house. I mean, they were desperately able to find the house. They was able to look at the price of the house and everything just based off this one picture he took right here. They found out this house. They start looking through the house like, oh, he lives in a nice house. Then they got this. They're saying that they bought this house, and you see all of these edits and stuff like that. Hashtag free Karmelo. And this is his mother, right? And they're sitting up there like, okay. Hold on. Why is my mouse is not? Come on, man. Hold on. Oh, okay. I don't know why my mouse is doing this. Okay. So they're sitting up there like free Karmelo and look at this, and they're making it seem like they bought the house with the donation money. When, as you can see, right up here from the screenshot, they must have taken this from Facebook. From the screenshot, they bought this house in 2023. This house was bought in 2023. All right. Now, I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a mathematician. All right. But I'm okay. I am okay. So let's do a little bit of math together. We can do it together because I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, but I could be. So we're in 2025 now. The situation happened about maybe a week or two ago. Okay. So that's still 2025. So if they bought the house in 2023 and it's 2025, if you do a little bit of subtracting, subtract the 3 from the 5. So they would have probably had the house, by my calculation, for about 2 years prior to this situation. So based off of my math, and I could be wrong, but based off of my math, they had this house for about 2 years before this situation. If they got the house in 2023 and it's 2025 and the situation happened a couple weeks ago and they had the house 2 years ago, that means that they had the house 2 years ago with the Cadillac 2 years ago. So this family has been well off. So the whole narrative that they're using donation funds and they're using this stuff, they're triggered pocket watching. Let me show you. They're not even done. They're not even done. Look. Not only did they take the thing of the house with the free Karmelo because they're photoshopping stuff. Now, this is how bad and mad they are. They're photoshopping. They also, hold on, they had to zoom. I want y'all to see how desperate they are. They zoomed into the picture of Karmelo to find some Nikes behind him on the stool. This is how bad they're pocket watching. They're pocket watching so bad they had to zoom in. They was like, "Are those shoes?" I'm talking about pocket watching for real. Oh, they out here pocket watching, y'all. They triggered. They don't know how to conduct themselves. They don't know what to do. Now they out here spreading this propaganda that the money that was used, we've all been scammed by the money that was used. Let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick, y'all. Hold on. This is Melanie King again.
Karmelo Anthony's family, the same family of the teen accused of murder, they've raised over $500,000. Not for the victim's family, not for the community healing, but for the legal defense. Except that defense fund, it looks like it's a lifestyle upgrade. We're talking mansion, brand new Escalade, and fresh designer sneakers. All while Karmelo chills at home on house arrest.
Karmelo Anthony's family is buying a new house in full security with that $400,000 that they have raised off of dummy black people that have donated to them. I gotta ask you, black people, are you ever tired of being grifted and scammed and manipulated for your emotions? So this is a 17-year-old black kid who stabbed another kid in the chest, killing him. And so now all of a sudden, this is your hero. All of a sudden, this is who you are riding for and advocating for, a stone cold killer. All right. And so I see all the black people, they're like, well, they could have, that kid should have kept his hands to themselves. When somebody tells you to get out of their face, you need to do it, et cetera, et cetera. Y'all are insane. And it's so crazy to me that 5 years after the BLM Graham and grift and scam, you are still being emotionally manipulated by people like the people that are around this kid who are grifting and scamming and raising money off of your emotions. You do it every single time. So my question to you, black people, is will you ever get tired of being scammed? Will you ever get tired of being emotionally manipulated? Will you ever get tired of writing for criminals and thugs?
And here's the thing. They're talking about riding. We're riding for criminals and thugs and everything like that. What they're so upset about when it comes to this situation, one of the things that they're most upset about when it comes to this situation is that Karmelo actually is a good kid. Karmelo is a good kid with a good background, with a family that are the kind of resemblance of black excellence. All right. The father's very active in the life. The mother's there. They don't have any criminal background. They're not strung up on drugs. They are both professionals. They both live in a good house. Okay. Their son is excellent in pretty much everything that he does. He saved lives. He's got a great GPA. He's the captain of his teams on multiple different teams. He had scholarships coming left and right his way. He had 2 jobs. Perfect damn near in every way, in every sense of the word, at the young age of 17 years old. They are so upset about that because they want to put the narrative out there that black kids or black teenagers, especially black boys, they're a bunch of thugs whose father's not in their life, so they revert to gang culture and all they know and all they think of is criminality. But they can't do it in this case, and this is what's making them so upset. Not only that, the family has money. That's also the family in this situation, which is really, really bothering them. The family has more money than the McCaff family. The McCaff family, you look at their house and you look at their background and everything like that. They're not as well off. They're not as well off as the Austin family is, and that is bothering to them. That is making them lose their minds. But let's continue. Let me get to some of the super chats real quick. I don't want to get caught up. Shout out to Andre. Andre DePrince says, "Don't ever let a Mayo put them hands on you." Yeah, don't do that. Let them F around and find out. B1. Hey. They gonna learn. They gonna learn. You have the right to defend yourself. We're not condoning violence, but you do have the right to defend yourself, and we all know that, and we all will protect ourselves if need be. So don't put anybody in that situation. Just don't do it. Shout out to Black Americans Come First with the 50, sends a whole 50. He says, "It feels so good to be black right now." It does. It does. Some days is not a good day, but it always does, but especially right now. It really does. It does. And then my good brothers, Tell It Like It Is says, "See how easy it is for them to toss their precious law and order banner out the window when things don't work out the way they want." That's very true. That's very true. They don't see that. They do not see that they're making this case too easy. They are, and this is great. Let them keep doing it. Let them keep doing it. They're messing the case up for themselves. They don't know it because they're not that smart, but they're messing the case up for themselves. They really are. We're doing everything the way we should. Let's continue with the video. Actually, shout out to Terrence for the Cash App, actually, and shout out to Devonta for the Cash App. Thank you so very much. Well, we got much to discuss, y'all. Let's continue.
Meanwhile, the Metcalf family is burying their son, still grieving, still showing up to court, begging for accountability. And they get to watch the person accused of killing him live like a celebrity. Now, you tell me, what part of this is justice?
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that that's messed up. I guess you could say that is messed up. Where have we seen this before? Just can somebody, I mean, I guess this is unprecedented, right? I guess we've never in American history have seen anything remotely close to this before, right? Is maybe it is like that. Maybe this is an unprecedented event that we've just never witnessed before. We've never seen anything like this before. We've never seen somebody get off and get on bail, post bail after raising millions of dollars for provoking a situation and then using a firearm or just choking somebody to death and, you know, getting out and they're doing a whole bunch of interviews and signing Skittles in Arizona. Where have we seen anything like this before? I mean, she does have a point there that this is unprecedented. She does have a point there that we've never seen anything like this, and it damn sure wouldn't happen if the races were reversed. Don't you understand? Don't you know? Don't you know that if the races were reversed, they wouldn't be celebrated? Nobody would be calling these people a hero. Nobody. If the races were reversed, everybody would be holding them accountable. We have never in American history seen an innocent black person, you know, get shot, strangled, or anything, or attacked in any way, and then the person who actually committed the crime get off and then celebrate it like a hero, and then go on to sign Skittles and go on to sign Arizona teas and go on to make a book and go on to do it. We've never seen anything like this before. This is unprecedented. This really is.
Let's stop sugarcoating this. This is exploitation, period. A murder charge turned into a mansion and a GoFundMe success story. It's outrage culture meets clout chasing.
She better be careful. She needs to be very careful because right now, I guess the views is low and all that. She's trying to do what she got to do to get all that, the clicks and whatnot. But let me tell you something. What you're doing is slanderous. Okay, you're putting out false information because what you're doing is you're saying that they use the Gifts and Go money to purchase a house. Okay, they use the Gifts and Go money to purchase a house, a new Cadillac. First off, which would be illegal. Second of all, the Gifts and Go money was closed before it even reached the money necessary to do that.
And worst of all, it's working because no one is stopping it. No oversight, no accountability, just vibes and viral support, I guess. Now, I hear people already jumping the gun, saying this must mean the evidence is in his favor. Stop it. That's not just premature, it's intellectually lazy. If that video truly showed him being attacked, cornered, brutalized, you really think we wouldn't have heard about it by now? You think civil rights leaders wouldn't be showing it at every press conference? But instead, it's just silence. And silence speaks volume. Okay.
And some people making this argument. Some people are making this argument because there is videos out there, multiple videos, but there is one big video that they say captured the whole event. All right. And the police have custody because the police took custody of all of the phones. Okay. I need you guys to lock in. Police took custody of all of the phones. They have it. At this point, the attorneys have seen the video. They've seen on both sides. The prosecution has seen the video and the defense has seen the video. So they're making the arguments around the video. For her to say, well, if the video pretty much acquits him of self-defense and it proves that it's self-defense, why haven't we seen the video? And that's something that we've been hearing. Well, if it proved that he was innocent, why haven't we seen it yet? Why haven't we seen the video? Okay, that's an interesting argument. But you could also flip it and say, well, if it proves that he was guilty, why haven't we seen the video? If it proves that he was guilty, why haven't Fox News played the video? Why haven't all these conservative think tanks and this alt-right media and all that stuff, why haven't we seen the video from them? Because at this point, y'all messing up. Y'all don't even know what you're saying. Because at this point, the fact that there's a video out here and you guys are still having to make things up. You guys still have to Photoshop and you have to super crop little Nike shoes and all that stuff. The fact that you guys are still trying to find an argument and you can't really base your argument off of a video that we have confirmed does exist. actually goes to prove that your argument is wrong. It actually goes to prove the opposite. If I was them, and then they're not going to stop, but if I was them, I would stop even mentioning the video, because the video actually goes in Karmelo's favor clearly. Because even if people leaked what was on the video, even if they leaked what was on the video and they said, oh, the video proves without a shadow of a doubt Karmelo is 100% guilty, he was the aggressor, he started the situation, and he was just vicious and violent and all of that, that's what they would be saying. That's what they would be saying. But that's not what they're saying. They're having to make stuff up because they don't have a point that they can stick to. So you bringing up the video, I think that's a very good point, because the video clearly shows that Karmelo is innocent, or at least shows that it was self-defense. Okay, it verifies the self-defense argument.
So I'll be a little fair here. Yes, technically,
from their reaction, I have not seen the video, but from their reaction,
it's possible the footage supports self-defense. I'm not closing that door. But for the record, my issue with people like Tim Pool isn't that they mention self-defense, it's that they say it's like it's some fact, like it's obvious. Tim compared this to someone defending themselves at a house party. Excuse me? You don't crash someone's tent, flash a knife, refuse to leave, and then kill someone when they react and call that self-defense.
You don't crash someone's tent. Whose tent was it? Who owned the tent? Because Austin didn't own the tent. His brother didn't own the tent. Notice all of these people, when they talk about you don't crash somebody's tent, they keep saying it as if the tent belonged to the family of McCaff. They keep saying it as if it was in their own personal property, as if Karmelo went to their backyard. They keep framing it like that instead of framing it as this was a school event where multiple schools were, and they had multiple tents up, and there were many children under many different tents, many kids under many different tents. And he crashed the tent. What was he doing? Was he damaging anything? Was he stealing anything? He crashed the tent and then was asked to leave. And then next thing you know, she skips. Notice they always do that. Skip over the fact that Austin put his hands on him. And then when asked to leave, picks up a knife and stabs somebody. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all.
That's not law. That's not logic. That's delusion. Now let's revisit what we do now. Witnesses say Karmelo walked into a tent he had no business being in. He wasn't chased in. He wasn't cornered. He went in, armed, and refused to leave, and started taunting everybody. Touch me and see what happens. Really? He wanted the smoke, and that's what he got.
Okay, then the whole, well, touch me and see, because they keep trying to flip it from touch me and see what happens is a warning, which it is. It's a warning. They keep trying to flip it and make it seem like that's something that we would do to provoke a fight. Karmelo wasn't doing anything but sitting down, minding his own business. Even according to the twin said that they said something to Karmelo. In both accounts, he said that to the police, and he said that on the interviews. In every single situation where he actually spelled out what happened, he said that they were the ones who said something to Karmelo. So the whole touch me and see what happens, that's provoking a fight. What was said before that? Because it's not like Karmelo was just sitting up there with the knife like, hey, anybody touch me? Do you want to touch me? Do you want to touch me? Anybody want to touch me? That's not what happened. And look at how far they have to lie. If the evidence was on their side at all, they wouldn't have to lie this bad.
And when someone finally responded, he pulled out a knife and stabbed a kid straight through the heart. That's not fear. That is not survival instinct. That's intent. Now let's address the bond. Was the video the reason it got lowered? No. Court documents don't even mention the footage as justification. What do they say? That the judge used her own discretion and set bond at $250,000 cash, placed him on house arrest and parent supervision, no contact with the victim's family, and check-ins every Friday. Sounds strict until you remember that they took a kid's life and that he's playing Xbox in a mansion now. I want to be crystal clear.
Y'all don't know if he's playing Xbox. He could have a PlayStation. We could have a Nintendo Wii. You know, there's other content. Wow, y'all got something against Xbox now or something?
The idea that this case has been flipped on its head is pure fantasy. There is no evidence to support that claim. And frankly, anyone pushing it should be embarrassed. We don't have the video. We don't have testimony confirming Karmelo was defending himself. What do we have? Consistent witness reports, clear actions, and zero, absolutely zero remorse. This isn't a misunderstood kid. This is someone who made a violent, deadly choice and now gets to live like nothing even happened. That bond reduction is a
he's on house arrest right now. What are you talking about? He gets to live like nothing even happened. He can't leave his house and he has to be checked up on every week. What do you mean? And he can't be on social media. The whole he gets to live like nothing ever happened. No, okay, now we done. But when I tell you their bond, the fact that we can do something that's on code, because this is what they want to do to us. Because they want to oppress us because we're black, but they can because of our economic situation. And when they see black people who are not poor and destitute and who have money to defend themselves, that makes them lose their mind. And they never let that go. Going back, before we play more of the videos, and before I get to some of the cash apps as well too, going back, we can talk about in cases, big cases of a black person being accused of something that the black person, according to the jury of their peers and according to the evidence, didn't commit. That black person, more than likely, in most cases, had hardcore evidence that acquitted them and had the legal defense, had the funds to provide the legal defense necessary, very important, necessary in order to defend themselves and represent them properly. We can look at the situation with O.J. Simpson. They're so upset that O.J. Simpson was able to afford his lawyer. They're so upset because O.J. wasn't broke. They're so upset with that. Look at the case of Michael Jackson. The case with Michael Jackson, they were pissed off that Michael Jackson was able to afford his defense. Look at the case with Karmelo right now. They're pissed off at the fact that they're able to afford their defense because what they rely on is they rely on black people falsely being into the criminal justice system, them not being able to afford proper legal representation, and then them having to take a deal. That's why most of the black people in prison right now for these crimes, they've taken a deal. Most of them don't really go to trial. They'll tell you that. Most cases don't go to trial. They take deals. And they take deals because the prosecution knows, well, all I got to do is prove that all the prosecution has to do, all they have to do legally is prove that an event happened. That's all they have to do. If they can prove that an event happened and this is the suspect that we accuse of this event, we allege that this suspect did this event, boo up the bam, we can charge this suspect. The prosecution doesn't make anybody guilty or not. They can charge the suspect with what they feel like the suspect should be charged with based off of said event that occurred, and that's all they can do. What happens in most of these cases is that these people, they cannot afford representation outside of public defense. And the public defense, because they're not being paid by the family, they don't work privately. So what they do in the case of public defense, they'll negotiate with the prosecutor. This is what they do. And this is kind of well known. This doesn't just white or black. This is across America. This is really the flaw of the justice system in America. So what they do is the public defender goes to the prosecutor and they make an arrangement. And then the public defense comes down to the defendant and they say, you know what? I talked to him and they were able to negotiate. They want to lower the charges. They lowered it from first degree. So now we can get manslaughter. And instead of doing 30 years, we can get you off with a good 10, but you will only do 5. You will only, if good behavior, you're only going to do 5. So really, this is a great deal. This is what the defense normally does. And because the defendant knows that, okay, this is supposed to be the person who's supposed to be helping me legally, and the person who's supposed to be helping me legally is telling me I need to take this deal, I'm not going to flip a coin over getting 50 years to life or taking 10 years and doing 5. They don't really take those chances. So in most of the cases, they plead out and they say, okay, I'll take the manslaughter or the lower charge and I'll do this time. And they plead out, and that's what happens in most cases. So it's very rare where you see somebody who actually has the funds to get a proper lawyer. This is what the family has been doing. The family has been going through different lawyers because more than likely, I can't confirm this, but more than likely, this is what they've been saying. More than likely, they've been talking to the prosecution. They've been looking at the situation, and they've been saying, you know what? Based off of everything that we know, I think that your son should take this deal. I think your son should take a deal. I think your son should do manslaughter and maybe 5. He'll get out. He'll still be in his 20s. He can still do something with his life. And the family's like, no. The family's like, no, we not going. That's not going to happen. And shout out to the family for that. Shout out to the family for not allowing their son to take a deal. And shout out to the community. Shout out to you guys. Can you guys give yourself a round of applause in the chat room? Shout out to every single last one of you guys, okay? For that, because we have been the force, okay? We have been the force, not legally, but we've been the force really spiritually, really, and emotionally and culturally to defend Karmelo and his family. Now, the reason why the family had to relocate was because their address allegedly got leaked to the public. And with all of the threats and things like that going around, the family also does have other children. Karmelo has siblings. So the family is going to have to relocate. The family's going to have to get security because clearly you can clearly tell that they're trying to find out where they are. Even the judge has to beef up security. So I don't mind the fact that they're relocating. That's the smart thing for him to do. That would be the logical thing for him to do. All right. Kyle Rittenhouse relocated. If you guys didn't know, Kyle Rittenhouse actually did relocate. And when Kyle Rittenhouse relocated, for anybody's all like, why did he have to relocate? Why did he have to relocate? Bring this up. When Kyle Rittenhouse relocated, he got in trouble because he didn't tell the judge. He didn't tell law enforcement that he was relocating. They found out through his ankle monitor, like, hey, dude, why are you not in the house you were supposed to be at? What are you doing? They thought Kyle Rittenhouse was fleeing. And then he was all like, oh, no, I was getting threats and I had to leave for my safety or whatever. And they all like, oh, that's okay. I mean, you should have told us, but water under the bridge. We're not going to trip about it. You our boy. We like this. That's what they did. So anybody bringing up, well, the family, that's a nice house. Oh, Kyle did it. And Kyle didn't even tell nobody he was going to do it. The judge and the law enforcement, they had to go to Kyle, be all like, Kyle, what are you doing? Why are you over here? You're not supposed to be over here. They thought he was fleeing. And the judge didn't bring that up. That judge, he didn't bring that up in court. So yeah, we're not going to do that. We get to some of the super chats real quick. My brother Hurricane says, can you say lawsuit as far as when it comes to Melanie? Yeah, Melanie better tread lightly. Because, I mean, I'm talking about she's not even using the words alleged, maybe, anything. I'm talking about just straight up defamation. Just straight up defamation is what she's doing. And then Sequin, or Shacked, sorry, I don't know why I mispronounced this. Touch me and see what happens. Is saying, quote, do it if you bad. That is, it's such a leap in logic. If there is anything, if there is even is any, then really, to say that it is a threat, to say as a threat, because you have to also, that is, thank you for that. That is, before we play the next clip, I want to address that. To say, touch me and see what happens is a threat. How that would mean that you are trying to provoke somebody to touch you. But then that person actually has to touch you. Who is the person who initiated the physical altercation? Who is the person who touched the other person first? That's number one. No matter what words were said, because at this point, even if we say it's not a warning, for the sake of the argument, let's say it's up into interpretation. You might think it's a warning. Another person might think it's a threat. Oh, it's up into interpretation. What's not up for interpretation is who touched who first. That is absolutely not up for interpretation. That there's no wondering. There's no guess. The twin brother, all of the witness accounts say Austin touched Karmelo first. That's the situation. So if y'all want to say, well, that sounds like a threat. It sounds like he was provoking him. Austin didn't have to touch him. Austin didn't have to, nor did he have the authority to put his hands on him. Austin is not the damn tent police. Austin is not the bouncer of the school tent. Austin did not have any authority to put his hands on Karmelo. Not only that, Karmelo gave a second warning. If he says, touch me, see what happens, and I can guarantee you it wasn't a slight little, oh, really? How about I just poke you one time? How about that? How about, yeah, you said touch you, I'm touching you. I'm touching you, right? That's not what was happening. He said, touch me, see what happened. More than likely, it was a violent shove. It was a push to be all like, get up out of here. And then Karmelo gave a second warning, even though he didn't have to, a second warning, say, punch me and see what happens. Which really means like, hey, you gonna keep playing with me. You stop trying me. You need to stop. You need to stop. That's 2 warnings. And with every single warning, Austin got more aggressive. Then he started reaching and grabbing all up on him and stuff like that. And that's unfortunate what happened, but that it happened. That is what happened. All right. By all accounts, that's what happened. And when the video comes out, more than likely, that's what the video is going to show what happened. But back on to the fact that they are out here pocket watching our brother. They out here sitting up there pocket watching this young man. Oh, they hate to see black success. They hate to see black people with a little bit of paper. That's one of the things that they hate the absolute most. Y'all, let me show you this. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. Play it right here. Look.
This is from a story in the New York Post. Well, Karmelo Anthony, the murderer and scammer, is now scamming in a $900,000 house. This is from a story in the New York Post, which says that despite getting his bail lowered from $1 million to $250,000 because of, quote, financial difficulties, Karmelo Anthony and his family have not only moved into a $900,000 home in a luxurious gated community, but they've also gone car shopping. This is from the Post. It is basically saying that he lives in that $900,000 home in a luxurious gated community. And it said, according to the New York Post reporting, it had a white Suburban, a black Acura, and a third sedan in the driveway on Tuesday. And again, that is actually from the Daily Mail, not the New York Post.
I don't know how to say pocket watching more than this. This dude is, first off, this ain't even just pocket watching. This is moist pocket watching. This is the sassiest pocket watching. I don't think I've ever seen anything more sassy, a pocket watching more sassy than this. And as we've already said before, as we've already discussed before, the family already had that house. The family already had that that white Suburban. The family already had cars. But boy, y'all gonna just stay for a little bit. Just stay for a little bit. Let's let him finish what he has to say. Because him, Melanie King, the New York Post, Daily Mail, all of them are alleging that he is using this money and he's going a shopping spree. He's buying Nike shoes. He's buying cars. He's buying mansions. He's doing all of this with money that clearly didn't equal up, because the GoFundMe only reached like a little over 200 something. Sorry, 400K, a little over 400K. I don't know how they're spending millions of dollars immediately with $400,000 worth of donations, but let them tell it that's what they're doing. So let's let him finish. This is what the crime he is accusing Austin Anthony's family of.
But man, a neighbor told the family that Karmelo Anthony just bought a new ride because, you know, when you're a 17-year-old kid and you kill another teenager, now's the time to flex off of all of your scammy fundraising money. A neighbor said the family had just bought a new ride. He just got a new car, the resident told.
Somebody is saying that he might face a lawsuit too. He might face a lawsuit too. Okay. All of that slander and all that stuff. Y'all saying they're using the money. This is not true. But y'all just posting this out here to make Karmelo look bad, which y'all think is making Karmelo look bad. Okay. There's enough lawsuits to go around. I'm trying to tell y'all.
The outlet. If you look at the license plate, it's got a paper tag and says it expires June 4th. Again, Black people, are you going to continue to get scammed by Karmelo Anthony and all of the people that are around him that are making the case of a 17-year-old Black teenager who, by the way, killed another teenager, Austin Metcalf? He killed the kid. And now he is being made out to seem like some sort of civil rights activist. The EBT crowd is in my mentions.
He's made to seem like a civil rights activist. Who is making Karmelo seem like a civil rights activist? And this is something, anytime, I got to pause it because I got to give y'all a break. Anytime a Black person is wronged and us as the community, we advocate for justice for the Black person who's wrong. Doesn't matter. Okay, whether it's Trayvon Martin, whether it was Breonna Taylor, whether it was George Floyd, whether it's Austin Metcalf, okay? None of that stuff matters. These things don't matter. We're talking about a Black person who was done wrong. This is the situation. He was either wrongly killed or wrongly convicted. So that's what we're talking about. What they try to do is they use a straw man argument to be like, oh, that's your hero. So he's your hero. He's a god to you all. Y'all love him so much. You guys worship him. They were saying the same thing with George Floyd. Oh, George Floyd's not a hero. Okay, well, he doesn't have to be a hero in order to not deserve to be strangled to death. They said the same thing with Jordan Neely. They said the same thing with Jordan Neely. They was all like, Jordan Neely, he's no hero. He's not a hero. How could you guys defend somebody who's not a hero? Oh, no. It's what happened to him was wrong. In the case of Karmelo Anthony, Karmelo is wrongfully being accused of first-degree murder, and he didn't do it. Based off of what we have seen as of right now, this is not first degree. It's not first degree murder. Y'all couldn't convince me otherwise. That's not what this is, but that's what he's saying. That's what they're saying. But let's go. I want you guys to see this after I'm done. So I need y'all to stay locked in. I hope y'all hit that like button. I really hope y'all did. But let's continue. Let's continue. Come on, y'all. We here with it. We locked in.
And they're about free Karmelo. You know, they got the black fist and the symbol. So this, Black people, this is who you ride for. This is your hero. This is your celebrity. This is the person that you're going to give money to. I think that Karmelo Anthony and the people around him know exactly how stupid the EBT crowd that's supporting Karmelo Anthony is. And they know that once this video footage comes out, and there are rumors about what the video footage says, but once this video footage comes out, it will probably be the end of the gravy train. So like many a BLM scammer before them, like many a race hustling scammer before them, in the grand tradition of Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all of the other race hustlers that have come forth throughout American history, you know, the team around Karmelo Anthony is just walking in the footsteps of the great race hustlers of America. I think that the gravy train is going to end quite soon for these folks. I will be glad it does. I'll be glad when it does. But until then, Black people, do you ever get tired of being hustled, scammed, and played by race hustlers? The answer seems to be no.
Okay. Now, before we get into the facts of that, he kept saying the EBT crowd. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So just real quick, can we do this real quick? I looked this up. And I want to share with you guys something. Let me share this with you all. So this comes from Food Research and Action Center. So when you look it up right here, I hope you guys can see it right here where they talk about, the targets and everything like that. So let's look up this part, this bullet finding. SNAP, which is EBT, food stamps, that's what all that stuff is. Recipients represent different race and or ethnicities. Okay, so let's see. White, okay, about 37%. Okay, about 37%. African American, Foundation Black America, FBA, 26%. Oh, huh. Hispanic, 16, Asian, 3%, Native American, about 2%. Oh, well, it seems as if they receive more food stamps and government assistance and EBT and WIC and all of that stuff that we get stereotyped for. It seems that they're the ones who, that was just a quick Google research, y'all. That's not even really going into it all. I just literally go into that. All right. So clear. And before we get into that, let me get into this. Let me get to some of the other super chats real quick. Hurricane again says, also, why do they think a push won't cause any injury? You can, unfortunately, take somebody's life with a push, especially if you're on stairs. You can easily push somebody. They lose their balance, fall, hit the concrete, damage it. You can do that just with a push. And it wasn't just a push. That's a great point, Hurricane. And then we have another one from Shaq says, peep the MAGA hat in the back. Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those conservatives. He definitely is. Hurricane again says, they can't show any receipts for these claims. They can't. And I'm going to show you why they cannot do that. I'm going to show you. They can't do it. It says he need another lawsuit now just for the EBT comment. Yeah, he does. He does. And the narrative of the EBT, and y'all know how black people love y'all EBT and y'all food stamps when all of the actual documents show that white people get more EBT and white people get more food stamps and white people get more government assistance than black people do. They all show that. But they don't want to bring that up because it's a stereotype of that they want to push on black people. But I found something very interesting. All of these claims that Karmelo is out here using the money and they're finessing the people. Turns out that is not the case at all. So let's look at this. This says, scrolling down, the gifts and go. It says Karmelo Anthony has not, that is N-O-T, not withdrawn funds from his nearly $450,000 gifts and go fundraiser, even after he walked free from the slammer on a $250,000 bond Monday. So that means the family has not even gotten the money yet because it's such a large amount of money that it has to go through a whole bunch of channels and all that before the family actually is able to use it. So that means all of the money, okay, all of the money that we're seeing as far as the house, as far as the car, as far as the security, as far as the bail, as far as all of that, all of the money that we're seeing that the family's spending, that's their own money. That's 100% their own money. So everybody saying anything else is putting out lies and slander. All of that stuff, Melanie King, whatever this most dude's name was, all of them, the Daily Mail, all of these people out here, that's slander because the family has not gotten this money yet. And even this money, that's, let's say, was $250,000 in cash and they can spend it how they wanted to. They couldn't be able to buy a mansion with that money and move into a gated community with that. That's not how that works. You can't buy a mansion in a week or so with some. I got 2 suitcases worth of cash. Almost $500,000. Here, take it. Let me buy this house. Let me sign my name right here. That's not how that would work either. Or you buying an Escalade and all that stuff. All of this stuff is slander because they're triggered that this brother is not broke. His family is not broke. They're mad about that. They're losing their minds about that. They're outraged about that. They're totally outraged. The family has not even received the money yet. But boy, they upset. They are upset about that. Got some more stuff to show y'all. Got some more stuff to show. Because one thing I don't like to see is cowardly black people like this guy. Let me show you. Cowardly black people who want all black people to essentially turn the other cheek and to go along, to get along, because that raises the tension from the dominant society. And they want everybody to be yes sir and yes ma'aming. But the thing is that we are not yes sirring and yes ma'aming. We're not doing that. We're too on code. We're too locked in. We're not doing no yes sir and yes ma'am. But you got some old niggas trying to convince us that's the way we need to go. Let's look at this. The message from this guy.
Hey, black people. Regarding this Karmelo Anthony situation and the murdering of somebody because they touched your backpack, you're going to have to take the L. You're making the rest of us responsible black people look like absolute trash. There's no wonder why people like Nick Fuentes and every other white person doesn't want to be around you niggas. I don't want to be around you niggas. Respectable individuals with decent credit scores don't want to be around you niggas.
Oh, I can almost promise you Carmelo's family has a phenomenal credit score. If I can guarantee you, I don't know the family, but if I can guarantee you one thing, I can guarantee you that their credit score is a lot better than your credit score. I don't know what car you're in. I'm looking at it right now. I can guarantee you your car is not no damn Escalade. I can guarantee you your car is not no brand new 2023, 2024, 2025, nothing. I can guarantee you that. I can just I don't know, call it intuition. I can guarantee you that their credit score is better than your credit score. I can guarantee you that. Talking about they don't want to be us good black people, us good. No, you mean the tap dancing kiss assers? Okay, that's what you mean. The buck broken, us buck broken black people. We don't like you rebellious and black people. We don't like you all because you guys make it tougher for us.
People that have a family and children and want to walk around their neighborhood don't want to be around you niggas. And all you're doing is exasperating this situation with your stupidity, your racial idolatry. And then I got to go on here and listen to Jason Will.
Our racial idolatry. Okay. What do you call this though? What do you call it? Because they keep telling us that we're the ones making the situation about race. We're the ones keep making the situation about race. When they're out there talking, I'm talking about the most racist thing, hang niggas. This is what we need to do to niggas. The race war is on. This is what they're saying. They're the ones making this about race. Whites need to arm ourselves. This is what they're out here saying. So what are you talking about? We making it about race. Okay.
Whitlock, not argue Nick Fuentes' points on the basis of the merits of his talking points. He wants to argue in the favor of Christianity and call Nick Fuentes not a real Christian and that he's not repping Jesus Christ. Well, I got news for you, Jason. I'm a big fan of yours as well. But correct me if I'm wrong. Don't you get paid?
Jason Whitlock and Nick Fuentes thing, that ain't got nothing to do with this. Let me fast forward a little bit.
Anybody that wants to protect their family from anybody, regardless of race, should be able to say so and be able to identify the certain individuals. Okay? So Nick Fuentes isn't wrong in his assessment here. Okay? Nowhere in the Bible does it say, thou shalt have to be around animalistic niggas. It doesn't say that, bro. You should be able to protect your family.
All this ass kissing and stuff like that, it's just shameful. It's shameful when we see stuff like this. Anytime we see a situation where black people can be on code and lock in and fight for justice, then we see a bunch of ass kissers all like, oh no, I don't want Susie and Bob to give me the side eye when I walk into the office. Let me show I'm a good old boy. That's what they're doing. Because anytime a situation occurs where it shows that the grip on power that the dominant society is used to having is under threat. What we have is a whole bunch of scared, tap dancing, buck broken shills and mammies. They go above and beyond to show, oh, I'm on your side, master. I'm not one of them. I don't even want to run away, master. I would never do that. I'm trying to tell you, I loves you. This is our house. I'm just in the plantation part of it. That's what I'm doing. I love you. They always do that. And it's self-deprecation at this point. It's just something that nobody can respect, not even them, not even the white supremacists can respect that. It's just so pathetic. It is. It's so pathetic. It's honestly pathetic. Speaking of pathetic, now we actually have to talk to, and you guys probably, or not talk to, but talk about, and you guys probably knew we were going to get to this part. We're going to talk about Brandon Tatum. So Brandon Tatum, he's been making videos, and he has some things to say about it.
Because if there was an actual self-defense claim, then he could actually be innocent of committing the crime which he was charged for. Now, unless they completely lie and there's evidence that nobody else talk about, there's no way he's going to have a self-defense claim. And I'm explaining it again for anybody who missed it. In order to have a self-defense claim, you can't antagonize or instigate an incident and then claim self-defense, meaning that the kid was under somebody else's tent, verbally asked to leave, not physically asked to leave, nobody touched him, nobody did anything. He was verbally asked.
They keep making, and every time they say that, say whose tent, who owned the tent, who was the owner of the tent? Because they keep saying he was under somebody else's tent. Well, no, the tent wasn't Karmelo's, but the tent wasn't Austin's either.
To leave, which is a reasonable request for somebody to ask a person to get from under their tent when they're not on that team. But then he says, as he reaches in his bag, according to the police report, that touch me and see what happens. Now, he's not afraid for his life, right? Because he could walk away. Just like when he stabbed the person, he ran away. So it doesn't appear that he's afraid for his life because he's sitting there taunting and suggesting a physical engagement with somebody, right? It's like, come on, touch me and see what happens. He's inviting conflict. And he knows this is why they charged him with first-degree murder.
Oh, let's let him finish.
Because he knows he has a knife, and he knows that he's going to stab him with a knife as soon as they touch him. Not hit him, not assault him, not jump him, not pull a knife on him or pull a gun on him. If they simply touch him, he's going to use deadly force against somebody to kill them. Now, whether you intend to kill a
okay. If somebody said, oh, touch me, see what happens. Touch me, see what happens. Does that make you have to touch them? Do you have to touch them? Because if the roles were reversed, they would be saying, well, that you still don't have no right to put your hands on them. They keep trying to skip over that. See, what the argument now is that it's completely clear. It's 100% clear. It's unarguable that Austin was the one who put his hands on him. That's 100% unarguable. Austin was the one who assaulted Karmelo. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows, has seen the video. Anybody who's aware of the case, aware of the situation, all know this. This is a fact that Austin was the one who did this to Karmelo or who instigated the situation. So in order to not make Austin a bad guy, because the thing is, the person who is the aggressor, you can't say that the person who's responding to being responding to being assaulted overdid it. Because if you say, even if they want to say you overdid it, you can't make the argument that that's first degree. You can't make the argument that that's premeditated. You can't make that argument if they're responding to being assaulted. So what they thought of is they're all like, okay, we got to flip it. And we got to make it seem as if Karmelo was the one who started the situation. But how do we do that? How do we do that? So they really thought about how did we do that? So we're going to say the warnings, because there were multiple warnings. We're going to say the warnings that Karmelo gave, they're threats. And he was provoking a situation. That's what we're going to do. We're going to say that Karmelo was provoking a situation when he was telling Austin to leave him alone. If we say that telling somebody not to put your hands on them provokes them to put your hands on them, then we can make the argument that Karmelo attacked Austin. That's perfect. And then if we say Karmelo attacked Austin, then that would make it first degree. It was premeditated. He went to school to provoke somebody to kill him. That's their argument. That's not going to work. He's telling her that's not going to work. No matter how bad you want that to work, it won't work. I'm trying to tell you, it won't work. It won't work because it's a clear warning, and everybody knows it's a clear warning that was given twice. And let's say, for the sake of the argument, can we go there? For the sake of the argument, let's say he was trying to provoke a situation. For the sake of the argument, we're just gonna say that. For the sake of the argument, let's say he was. Does Austin have agency over his own body? Does Austin have the ability to walk away? Because they keep trying to say that Karmelo should have walked away. He should have walked away. Okay. Does Austin not also have the ability to walk away? Does Austin not also have the ability to not be right up on him? Because in order for somebody to stab you in the heart, and if you have to be so like blindly enraged in order to not see somebody with a blade in their hand, you have to be right up on the person. Why was Austin right up on somebody? Austin didn't have to get all up in this man's face. Clearly, he was close enough to touch him. Why was he touching him? Does Austin not have the ability, even if he was being provoked, even if Karmelo was saying, touch me, I dare you put your hands on me, I dare you won't do it, you're a punk, you're this, you're that. Even if he was provoking and wanting and edging Austin to do it, Austin had the ability not to do that. You can't make the argument that Austin was made to put his hands on him. You can't make the argument that Austin thought that Karmelo was a threat to him, his twin, or anybody else in a tent or their property. You can't justify Austin putting his hands on him, even if he was provoked, which we know it was a warning. But even if you want to flip it up and change the rules and say that that's a provocation, he was provoking him, that was a threat. Okay, and he was egging him on. Even if you want to make that argument, Austin still has the responsibility as a young adult not to put his hands on somebody. He still should have known better. But let's continue. Let's continue, y'all.
Person or not is irrelevant because you're utilizing deadly force against another person. So when you say touch me and see what happens, that's where they develop premeditation, meaning that he knew he had the knife. He concealed the knife, so they didn't know he had the knife, but he knew and premeditated, when they touch me, I'm going to stab them. No matter what forces.
No, that's not premeditated. And this is another thing that they're doing. They're sitting up there changing the rules and changing the laws and making it seem like that don't mean it's premeditated. That's not what premeditation means. If I have a weapon on me, and you don't know I have a weapon on me, and you put your hands on me and I use my weapon, how does that make it premeditated? Because you didn't know?
It's being used, I'm going to stab him. And then they said they touched him, and he said, well, hit me, and I'm going to stab you. The same scenario.
He just told on himself. Because right now he's saying that he provoked him the first time, and then he touched him, and then he provoked him again. If he was this bloodthirsty, let's think about it. If Karmelo devised this plot, this entire plot, he's a genius, mastermind. Never done anything like this before, but this time, for whatever reason, he just wanted to stab somebody so bad. And he went to somebody else's tent. He wasn't supposed to be in that tent at all. He went in their tent, and he was sitting up there with the knife in his hand, just ready to swish it out and slice somebody up. And he said, I'm going to give a warning. This is his mastermind plan, right? I'm going to give a warning. And the second somebody touches me, I'm going to stab him. Okay, let's say that, right? If a person has that intent, why would they give a second warning? Let's think about that. If the person has that intent, if the narrative that they're making up is this is his intent, he wanted to do it. If he had that intent, would a person who has the intent on harming somebody give them multiple warnings not to touch them? Because in his mind, he would only need the one excuse of I warned them, and they did it to themselves because I warned them, they would just jump at the opportunity after the first warning. But he didn't. He gave 2 warnings. And Austin kept putting his hands on Karmelo. So that doesn't really make sense if you want to say that Karmelo was the one who started or provoked or escalated the situation. It doesn't make any sense. Why would somebody who had the intent on doing that give 2 separate warnings for the person to leave them alone, to keep their hands to themselves? Which is why he tried to slip in the second warning right after he really gave that narrative. After he gave that narrative, because he knows there's a second warning, which defeats the whole narrative. So he says that the first warning was some plot, and then he gives the narrative, and then he slips in the second narrative and says, oh, same situation. No, you got to put that into context. And when you put it into context, it doesn't make sense that he was provoking a fight.
He could walk away, but he didn't, because he knew that if they touched him or did anything, he wanted to stab and kill whoever was in his way. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. Now, the proportionality of force. First of all, self-defense can't be initiated. You can't initiate a conflict and then claim self-defense. Second, the use of a deadly weapon has to be proportional, meaning that if I just grab your T-shirt and say, man, move out the way, and you shoot me to death, that's disproportionality of use of force, because a person that used deadly force have to have evidence that a reasonable person would believe that person feared serious bodily injury. A black eye is not serious bodily injury.
Okay, that's true.
A busted lip is not serious bodily injury. They have to fear serious bodily injury and or death, meaning that he believed that they were going to kill him, or he believed they were going to use a deadly weapon against him. So he overcame that force with deadly force. But when you say a person is touched,
you don't have to have a deadly weapon in order to seriously harm somebody. You don't have to do that.
You and you're going to use deadly force against them is disproportional.
No, here's the thing. And they keep trying to remix what self-defense is. When they say it has to be proportional, it has to be proportional. Okay, well, can y'all tell me what's up with this then? If self-defense has to be proportional, tell me how all of these people was able to walk and then given heroes. I mean, they damn near got the key to the city, all 3 of them. And everybody that they killed was unarmed. They didn't attack nobody who was armed at all. In 2 of 3 of these cases, they were armed. The only one was Daniel Penny. All right. But he had to sneak up behind somebody who did not touch anybody. So you're talking about proportionality, and if you have a weapon, it's not proportional. Can you explain those cases then? And then when we go to self-defense, when you use the argument of self-defense is in according to Texas, the penal code, you have to have a threat of life deadly threat, a fatal threat, or a threat of serious bodily harm. If you perceive this threat, and if it's logical, if you're not like schizophrenic and you just hallucinate all over the place, if there is if you can make the argument that you logically, in your state of mind, you had a logical reason for having this threat, then you can use the force that you feel is appropriate to neutralize the threat. If you're in a bar or something like that, and a bar fight breaks out, somebody punches you, and you punch him back, and somebody's punching you, okay? But if you're in a bar fight, or if you're in a bar, just hypothetically, and a crowd of people walk in a room, it's 6-7 guys walk in a room, and somebody shoves you off your seat, and you fall down to the ground, and now you pick up a bottle, and you start hitting them in the head with a bottle, people will be all like, oh, well, that's disproportionate. Okay, well, you can say that that's disproportionate. A push and then hitting somebody in the head with a bottle would be disproportionate. However, looking at your state of mind, we have to analyze why you would feel that would be necessary. you could argue I would feel that would be necessary because he's not alone. I feel like that would be necessary because he came in with a crowd full of people. Even if he didn't hit me with a bottle, or even if he didn't have a bottle in his hand, the fact that there were multiple people against me, myself, makes me picking up some type of weapon to equalize the threat, to neutralize the threat, rational. That's all you would have to prove in that situation. When you look at the situation in the detail, Austin and his brother were right there. According to his brother is the one who started the situation. His brother is the one who started the incident. His brother was a few feet away from Austin. Austin is a much larger male. Austin approached him. Austin kept putting his hands on him despite all warning. Unfortunately, what it seems like as of right now is that Karmelo, he just swung and poked him where he could because he was being grabbed and tossed around. And when you look at his state of mind of what was going on at that time, you can make the argument that logically he feared for his safety. Let's be honest. Let me take this off the screen for a second before we continue. Let's be honest. Does it sound sane for somebody that you don't know at all, you don't have any issue with at all, just a complete stranger who you perceive is in the wrong tent? Even if he wasn't, but if he wasn't supposed to be in that tent, let's say he wasn't supposed to be in that tent, and you come up to him and say, hey, this isn't your tent, this is our tent, you got to get up out this tent, right? All right, let's say that. Does it make sense that you, as somebody who's the same age as you have no authority, you're not the tent police, you're not the bouncer, you're not the team captain, you're not that. Does it make sense that you would get so frustrated that you would try to reach out and grab this person and start throwing them around and throwing them out the tent? That sounds to me like somebody who has anger issues, personally. That sounds to me like somebody who might have a history of doing something like this. That sounds to me like somebody who might not be mentally stable. Now, I got to say allegedly because we don't know as of right now. It hasn't been proven, but that sounds to me like somebody who might not have been sober at the time. That's what some people are saying, but it sounds, regardless of what you want to say, that doesn't sound like something a rational person would do. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. If a complete stranger is running up on you, you're not going to know what they're about to do. We have situations like this happening all the time where strangers just go around killing other strangers and people just mentally snap all the time. You have no idea what this person's about to do. You have no idea what that person's mentality, what their mental state is like. And if you tell somebody, hey, you're going to have to get up off me, that don't put your hands on me, if you letting them know, touch me and see what happens, you are letting them know that you are prepared to defend yourself. You're letting them know that multiple times. You're letting the person know, hey, I am prepared to defend myself if I am attacked. And then the person just snaps and starts attacking you. Does that sound like a mental stable person? Does that sound like somebody who's mentally stable? To me, it doesn't. To me, and it's tragic what happened to him. It's tragic what happened to Austin. But to me, that don't sound like a mentally stable person. At least not in that moment.
If you say hit me and the person never hit him, he was never punched, he was never physically assaulted with a strike, with any instrument or fist or anything. According to the police report, they shoved him, pushed him out of the tent. That's not deadly force. Pushing somebody does not necessitate deadly force. Pushing somebody is a hard argument to say, I feared that I was going to receive serious bodily injury or even be killed because the person asked me to get out the tent, I refused, and then he pushed me and I thought he was going to kill me.
Yo, but he don't stop there. He don't even stop there. Hold on, let me show y'all something else now. He came out with something. This was about 2 hours ago. He makes another video about 2 whole hours ago. Hold on, let me show it to you guys. Right here. We gonna play this. Lord have mercy. Now he's another one of those pocket watchers. Listen to this.
This is verified. This is going to be the difference between me and other people that you follow. They'll just go off the hook and just say all this stuff is true. I don't know. I can't verify what their situation is. I just know it's rumored, and these rumors don't look good for them, that they got this GoFundMe money, which, to be honest, the judge didn't have to lower the bond amount because they got $500,000, which would probably be enough collateral to take care of the bond, to bond him out. So they have the means to accomplish the $1 million bond. So for them dropping the bond to $250,000 was extremely low and unnecessary. Let's move forward. We see that they raised $500,000 some. It's going to go up more and more. We get closer to the trial. And if he takes this to trial, it's probably going to get more and more. There's going to be more and more money coming in because the people of the mailing are silly as a mother. I bet you $1 million. Most of the people that funded this are black.
Oh, Anthony's family.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, can we put a black fist in the chat room? I just want to thank y'all again. Can we put a black fist in the chat room for standing on business? Can we put a black fist in the chat room for everybody being on code? Can we? Because I'm proud of y'all. I'm very proud of y'all. Slow clap. Not even a fast one. The slow clap. Thank you guys. But let's listen to what he has to say.
This is BLM. This is what the black community does. This is what our pastors do. This is what they do, right? And so the family of Karmelo Anthony are still raising money. They got the bond reduced to $200,000, kept the rest of the money, moved into a mansion, right? So if you are so-called threats, why do you have to move in an $800,000 a year house? A house worth $800,000? Because it's Black Lives Matter all over again. Remember how Black Lives Matter stole all the money from the black community, raised over $50 million, and then disappeared, and they were investigated for fraud and exposed by Candace Owens? Well, that's exactly what his family is doing off the backs of ignorant black people who are full of racism, hate, and are so blinded by that they're willing to send money to a cause that they shouldn't be sending money to. It's BLM all over again.
And I'm telling you this.
Man, y'all better tread very lightly because the family know what they're doing. Let me just play this real quick. Let me just remind you guys that the family has not actually touched the money yet. All of what has been spent has been the family's money. And if they want to spend it how they want to spend it, that's their choice. They can do that if they want to. But okay, y'all can keep going ahead and being stupid if y'all want to.
And I've said it 100 times in a row. If Karmelo Anthony would have did this to another black kid, neither one of them would have got to GoFundMe. None of them. They wouldn't have supported Karmelo Anthony, and they definitely wouldn't have supported the person who died. Nobody got to GoFundMe. You want to bet me? Find me a GoFundMe where a black kid stabbed another black kid, or a black kid killed another black kid. They'll break a GoFundMe record if they GoFundMe all these young brothers that get killed by other brothers. It will never happen. These silly people.
It would also break a GoFundMe record if they made a GoFundMe for all of the white kids who, kill other white kids. They would break a GoFundMe record if they had a GoFundMe for all of the white people who sexually assault other white people. They would have a GoFundMe record broken for GoFundMe would have to make multiple different websites to get all that stuff, to get all the money that they would be receiving. It takes a second on YouTube. Hold on.
People of the melanin that are secretly racist and they hate white people. Go look at the GoFundMe link. Go look at his GoFundMe comments. What are they saying? They hate white people. They glad he did this. This is revenge. Let me explain this to you because this is how I used to think. When they
boy, the white fragility is, and it's crazy coming from somebody who's not white. Dude. We're glad he did this. We wanted him to die. No black person is saying that at all. I have not at all seen any video, any post, anything like that. Nobody in my comments, and I've talked about this on this and the For the Culture channel. I've talked about this several times. I've not seen a single comment on my YouTube's. on Twitter, on Instagram, on anything like that of anybody celebrating this situation. Every black person feels like this situation is a horrible situation. We just understand what the rules of self-defense are. We just see it for what it is, and we're saying that we're not going to change self-defense because he's black. That's what y'all trying to do. That's what you guys are trying to do. Y'all trying to change self-defense because he's black. Remind you, this is their outrage. This is their outrage. Okay? When he got bail, they said this is why we used to hang niggas. But he's saying that we're the ones who secretly racist against white people. We're the ones who secretly racist. No, we just know what justice is, and we're not going to let y'all change the rules of self-defense because y'all claim that all of these situations right here, you all claimed every single last one of these situations right here was self-defense. Y'all claim that Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself. Y'all claim that George Zimmerman defended himself. Y'all claim that Daniel Penny was defending himself, and the whole train let you tell it. Let you tell it. Daniel Penny was defending himself, the New York subway, the city of New York, the United States of America, and the world from a starving homeless man. Let them tell it. Let them tell it. That's what was going on. That's what was going on. Let them tell it. So y'all been getting away with this self-defense stuff for years now over egregious situations, which when you actually look at the case is not self-defense because they provoked all of the situations. And all of these situations right here, Kyle Rittenhouse went to a state that wasn't his state, went to a protest that had nothing to do with him with a gun that was illegal and provoked a situation, shooting 3 people, killing 2. But he got off on self-defense. George Zimmerman called the police on a black person who he was racially profiling, and police told him to leave him alone. He said, you know what? I don't necessarily have to listen to the police like that. Went to him with a gun in his hand. He started a fight with Trayvon Martin and wound up shooting him and killing him. They said, well, that seems like self-defense to me. That seems like self-defense to me. Jordan Neely, or Daniel Penny, I'm sorry. Daniel Penny was sitting on the subway and waited for a homeless man to turn his back so he can jump on him and put him in a chokehold and strangle him to death. Sounds like self-defense to me. So no, we're not going to change the rules and change the laws. And we're not going to do that when it comes to something. No, we're not going to do one case of a legitimate self-defense, but the person who defended himself was black. So now we got to change self-defense. We're not having that. We're not going. We're just not going. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
See a white kid, when you black in America and you grew up in the hood or you grew up anywhere in a prominent black neighborhood, most of the time, not all the time, people different. Most of the time, you have a underlying hatred towards white people. Therefore, when something happened to a white person, your whole mindset is, they did this to us. That's what they get. We used to be slaves. I don't care what happened to white people. They beat us. So when one of us killed them unjustifiably, it don't matter because they kill us all the time unjustifiably. So we kill one of them unjustifiably. What's the problem? They privileged. They got it anyway. The white man always got this. Look at the vitriolic theology of, I would say, the average black person in America.
As he's talking, I just noticed something. Hold on. Because I don't want to, I want to see if I can zoom in. I don't know if I can. But do you guys notice? I don't know where I was. Do you guys notice he has a picture of white Jesus on his shirt? Quote, because I live, you also will live. This man is talking about how black people just grow up intrinsically hating white people. The same thing that those other suspected white supremacists were saying. That black people intrinsically, genetically hate black people. And this man is preaching with a white, you can't even make this up. This man got a white Jesus shirt talking about how we just hate all white people. Oh, I know you don't. I know you don't. There ain't nothing they can do to you. I know you don't.
Listen, he's going to get treated poorly in the justice system. Yet they took his bond amount from $1 million to $250,000. Oh, what happened to he's gonna not have justice. To me, he got more than justice. They went up and beyond to lower his bond amount. But okay, let's get to the stuff that they talking about. So allegedly, Karmelo Anthony's family is now renting a $900,000 house in a gated community because they're claiming that they're getting death threats. Listen, I didn't move my house.
They're claiming that they're getting death threats. They're claiming. So what is this? Oh, and this is just one of many, one of several. What is this? Is this let me ask you guys, is this a death threat to you all? Is this reasonable for somebody to fear for their safety when you see thousands of people posting stuff like this online? I think so.
House because people say crazy stuff to me on the internet. Are there credible death threats? Now, moving into a $900,000 house, what does your original house look like? Because if you're in a $10 million house and you move to a $900,000 house, that's not a big deal. If you got a Ferrari, you got a Rolls Royce, you got a Bentley in your front yard, and you bought a $150,000 Escalade, we ain't got nothing to talk about. But if the house you're renting is better and bigger than the house that you actually live in, if you then went and bought a $150,000 Escalade, which is nicer than the cars that you currently own, we got a problem. No, we don't have a problem. You got a problem because you essentially are showing the world that people of the melanin literally live in a perpetual grift. And I'm not saying this every.
He said people of the melanin. When do we start getting called people of the melanin? Is that new? Have y'all heard that before? Because he kept saying it a couple of times, and I was wondering what he was saying. He's saying people of the melanin. Oh, okay. I guess that's a new thing now. Okay. People of the melanin. All right. Okay.
Everybody. What happened at Black Lives Matter? Patrice Cullors living in a perpetual grift. This is the biggest money laundering scheme that ever happened in American history from a nonprofit related to activism. They had enough influence, enough revenue, enough companies in a headlock to garnish hundreds of millions of dollars. And what did they do with the money? I want to say it, but I'm a Christian. These women are buying houses, buying up real estate, flipping houses in white neighborhoods. And now you see a situation where you got Karmelo Anthony's family allegedly buying Escalades and moving into these nice houses in the gated community after their son killed somebody. And he did it. If you ask me, this was malicious. And if the kid was white and he killed a black kid, they would be screaming to hang him and that he's a racist and it was malicious and he did it on purpose and he hoped every black man die. But when a black kid do it, somehow it's this knee-jerk reaction to say they wrong about him.
There's not been a single time. This is Tatum. He's not really an officer. That's just the name of his YouTube channel. I guess he was a former officer. There's not a single time where there's been a situation where it was a white and black situation where he has not either sided with the white side or given sympathy to the white side or made excuses for the white side. Is not a single time. Give me a time. Give me a time. He's never done that. He's never not sided, not sympathized, not justified, not rationalized what the white person has done to a black person. Never in his entire career on YouTube, because his audience would have hated that. All right? They would have hated that. Hey, what's going on in the chat room? Hey, you can't, what is, hey, you can't be doing, hey, somebody time that, hold on, I got him. Okay, hold on. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of trolls. They trigger right now. It's okay. We expect it. There's never been a time. Every single time there's a racial situation going on, it's always, well, these people are always trying to make some type of justification for the white person or even the non-black person. They don't even have to be white. They could be Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. There's always some justification, some reason why. First off, they say it's not about race, so they don't have to prove that they're just siding with the white person. They always claim it's not about race, but they immediately always default to siding with the white person against the black person. So what they'll do is they'll try to rationalize the situation. Simultaneously, they'll try to make the black person a thug or a criminal or a gangster. They always do that in every situation. In every situation, they will always do that. They did that with Trayvon Martin. They was like, well, there was one time Trayvon Martin smoked weed, so I mean, he was a drug dealing kingpin. Clearly, they said they did that with Trayvon Martin. They did that with Breonna Taylor. They said that Breonna Taylor was some queen pin selling drugs in the mail. That's what they said. Okay, they did that with George Floyd. They do that all of the time. They doing that with Karmelo Anthony. They did that with Mike Brown. They do that all of the time. In the cases that they can't do that, like for instance, Tamir Rice, in the cases where they can't do that, or Tatiana Jefferson, they try to completely sympathize. They act like they have so much sympathy. Oh my God, I have so much sympathy. You just don't understand. It's a tragic situation. But I mean, I don't think that the cop was really wrong. Maybe the cop overreacted. What they do in that situation is they always downplay what the cop has done wrong. So in the situation with Tamir Rice, originally they said that the BB gun that he had, they took, because BB guns have an orange tip on the barrel to let you know that it's an actual BB gun. They said that Tamir Rice actually took the orange tip off the BB gun. So the officer didn't know that it was a BB gun or not. Then the video came out and the officer immediately shot him based off of the video. So then they said, well, you got to understand, officers fear for their safety. Officers fear for their life, and it's a dangerous job, and officers die every day. You got to understand, it's tragic. So then they try to pretend that they have sympathy for both sides, but they always have more sympathy for the non-black side all the time. And if they can't do that, any of those, they just won't bring the situation up. They just won't bring it up. They just won't bring it up. Like the situation with Robert Brooks in New York City, who was beat to death by, while he was handcuffed to a bed. He wasn't even standing up, able to like kick and stuff. He was handcuffed to a hospital bed and he was beat to death in a room full of correctional officers. And I wonder what Tatum will say in response to this. I wonder how Tatum is going to try to rationalize what they did. They were all white. He was black. I wonder how he's going to try to rationalize what they did. I wonder what type of excuse he's going to make for them. He couldn't make an excuse, so he didn't touch the subject. He still hasn't touched the subject. He still won't address the subject because he can't defend the white people, and it is so blatantly wrong. He can't defend them. He can't come up with any type of rationale, even a sorry ass one. He couldn't come up with that. So this is his stick. This is what he does. Every single situation, he's always sitting up there siding with the white person against the black person. And in this situation, he's so stupid, he can't even do the research himself to find out that this money and all of these houses and stuff like that, the family already has that stuff. The family already has that. And the family has not used the money because they have not received the money from the Gifts and Go. I was able to look that up. And if I'm able to look that up, he was able to look that up. He knows that the family isn't using that, but he's spreading out this false, slanderous propaganda because he's black, because Karmelo is black. We only gonna play a little bit more, and I do want to take a couple of calls, actually, because I haven't been able to take calls on this subject, so I do want to take a couple of calls.
I'm gonna play these clips in a minute. They're just photos. I went to Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. I've driven by Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. It's named after the famous black poet Paul Laurence Dunbar. In the hood, I've driven by there lately. It don't look as bad as it was when I went there. And I feel like it wasn't as bad as it was before I went there. I mean, it was worse before I went there. So the school has progressively gotten a little better, in my opinion. But even going to a hood school where dudes pull guns on each other in the parking lot, I remember one of my teammates carried a gun to practice every day because he was a gangbanger. And he feared for his life, so he carried his gun to practice every day. Now, as a rational person, not one time did I think it makes sense to take a knife to a track meet. The question that I think will be posed to Karmelo Anthony, they're definitely not going to have him testify. I think he's going to do a plea deal. If he know what's best for him, he need to plead to manslaughter and do 5-10 years in prison and be done with it. If he go to trial, he's going to get dang near his whole life in prison. The question that is going to come up in the hearing, or they're going to come up in the court proceeding if they go there, is why did you take a knife to the track meet? What was your intentions with the knife being in your bag at the track meet? You don't need a knife to run the 400-meter dash. The last time I checked, when you run the relay, they pass the baton. They don't pass knives to each other. So what do you need a concealed knife in your bag at a track meet for? Why? That is an uphill battle to climb. You're afraid. You're in fear. If you're afraid or in fear, then that means that you shouldn't have went there anyway. Or that means that you took it because you plan to use the thing. I can go down.
Oh, Lord. Oh, and he's going to keep repeating himself. He's going to keep repeating that same pathetic argument. Oh, he planned on using it. Why did you do it? We'll find out. We'll find out. And let's be honest. I mean, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people, if you're doing a lot of traveling and stuff like that, unfortunately, a lot of people might take that. We don't know the size of it. He might keep a knife. There are people I know personally, they carry knives on them all the time. They always have a pocket knife. All of the time. If they don't have a firearm, they'll have a pocket knife. They always have something. I know, especially this is very popular with women. A lot of women, they'll have like small little cans of pepper spray on their keys or in their purse. I know a lot of women who do that, or a small little knife or something like that. A lot of people do that. Now, as far as the track meet might be concerned, if the knife blade is a certain size, he could technically bring it there. So, and these are important details that we don't know. But even if we say it shouldn't have been there, even if we give him that argument, that doesn't make the situation premeditated, because he didn't instigate a situation with anybody. Now, before we get to the calls, let me get to some of the super chats, because y'all been blessing me in the super chats. I appreciate you guys so very much. Shout out to Hurricane. He says this is the third lawsuit in a row. Really? I mean, really. And they should know better. They should. They really should. Shaq says, it really just shows their mindset. And he was talking about Austin. Funny how we're always expected to run when attacked, but they can stand their ground. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Texas is a stand your ground state, brothers and sisters. That is the truth. In a stand your ground state, you don't have to run away, because they didn't make the argument. Hold on, let me get this off. They didn't make the argument that George Zimmerman should have ran. They didn't make the argument that George Zimmerman should have ran away. They didn't say, well, if you felt like you were being attacked, and if you felt like he was beating you up, and if you felt all this and that, if you felt so threatened, why didn't you just run? Oh, no. They didn't make that argument. They didn't make the argument that Kyle Rittenhouse should have ran away. No, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to change the rules, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to change the rules, and we're just not going. Presidential Mike says, provoked or not, according to Texas law, Karmelo still has the right to stand his ground. Hunter should have been charged with Austin's unaliving. He should be. And there's a possibility that he will be, because according to Hunter himself, he did too much with those interviews. He told on himself by saying he's the one who initiated the situation. He started it, and his brother jumped in. He admitted that he was very much so a part and not actually the initiator. Josh says, I'm right leaning, but these black conservatives make me sick. Yeah. They want white acceptance so bad. Yeah. And this isn't about like whether you are more right leaning politically or left leaning politically. These people are, they want to be under the plantation. These are the tap dancers of the plantations. These are the yes men and yes women of the plantations. These are the Uncle Ruckuses and the mammies of the plantation. That's what they are. They're not even conservatives, okay? These are the boot licking ass kissers of the plantation. That's what they are. They're the people who are like, slavery's over. You mean we gotta leave? I don't want to leave the plantation, mess. I love you. That's what they are. That's what they are. And shout out to you for that, Josh. And then we get to Jacoby says, so I just looked her up and she needs to be fired from her job. She has posts since from last year saying blatantly racist stuff and on video. The Lily, oh yeah, this girl who made that threat, yeah, she does. Absolutely, 100%. 1000%. And to be honest, the fact that you're provoking violence and threatening, you might be able to be charged. She should be charged, honestly, for what she's doing. My brother Iron Will says, and let's not forget, it was white people who were sharing photos and memes mocking George Floyd, Jordan Neely, and Trayvon Martin's death. Yeah, it was them. It is them. They're making memes right now of Karmelo. They got this AI thing where they can like make some type of action figure. AI would make like an action figure. They would put you in a little box and then they would put like the little toys on the side and they got like a bloody knife, a chair and all that stuff. So they're making memes of him right now. Rita says, great broadcast, brother Afro Elite. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. That was an 8. I appreciate that. Josh again says, I'm from Los Angeles and I see a GoFundMe accounts for black on black crime all the time. What the F is this guy talking about? It happened, brother. Thank you. It happens all of the time. There's a whole bunch of, and I don't like the narrative. Let me just talk on that real quick. I don't like the narrative that when a black person is harmed by another black person, we don't care. We only care when it's a white person. No. There was just recently like a march in Chicago, like a couple of days ago, because of gun violence in Chicago. That happens all of the time. There's always these stop the gang violence marches and these peace meetings and all of this stuff in Chicago and in Detroit and in Atlanta and in these other places, black communities. Black people do this stuff all the time. We are the most self-policing people. If we're going to compare, we are absolutely, by far, unquestionably, the most self-policing group of people in this country. There's absolutely none. None that's more self-policing and more accountable for people in their community than us. You can't tell me anything different. Name somebody. Let's go apples for apples with it. Name somebody else. Name another group of people. You can't find one. We always do that. But the thing is that we know if a black person does something, shoots, stabs, whatever, another black person, if they get caught by the police, they're going to prison. And we don't need to protest in order to get the police to arrest them. That's the difference. In these situations, we need to almost force the police to charge them, force the prosecution to charge them, because the prosecution originally don't want to charge them with a crime. We got to damn near make the prosecution get up off their ass and charge them. That don't have to happen with us. There's not a single time in this country where prosecutions had to be forced to charge a black person with a crime. Oh, they gluttonous about charging black people with a crime. They would charge black people with a crime. They'd charge you with a RICO in a split second. They say, well, it looked like you was wearing some blue shoes, so that looked like a gang affiliation to me. It looked like they will charge black people with. Name the last time a white person was charged with a RICO crime. Just can we do that? Can we name the last? I mean, I don't know. It ain't been televised. Not like Young Thug, not like Little Dirk. It ain't been televised like that. So name the last time a white criminal organization has been charged with a RICO. They can charge Diddy, one person, with a RICO charge. I mean, Rico just Rico. When they're black, when they're white, it's like, well, it seems like he was a lone wolf. So yeah, y'all can miss me with that. Keith says, did Brandon all that have smoke when VP tore down his tent in California? When WP tore down his tent in California? WP. I'm not sure who WP is, and I have to let me know. WP. What is WP? Well, I think he says white people tore down his tent in California. I'm not sure about that situation. If he did, I know he didn't have that much smoke. If he did, but I don't know. I don't know about that situation. I'm gonna have to look up what he's talking about. Then we have our sister Nora says, so tired of nephew Ruckus. Yeah, instead of Uncle Ruckus, nephew Ruckus, and this the ex pot-bellied cop, the pot-bellied ex-cop. Yeah. Ultimately, and that's why I stopped the video. White people. I thought he was talking about a name. White people. Yeah. He's gonna repeat the same. It's not self-defense because it's premeditated. And no matter how much you try to push that narrative, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Everybody has enough common sense to know that don't mean it's not premeditated. We all got enough common sense to know that. Now, I don't have too long. We already been on here. I started a little bit late due to technical issues. So, but I do want to get some of y'all calls. I know y'all got a lot to say in this situation, so y'all be ready. Let me get the call lines up. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds, right? Okay. Hold on. Oh, no. All right. Press the wrong button. I'm always pressing the wrong button. I don't want to do that. Okay, hold on. 9, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the number is up. Let me put the number up right here. So the number is up right here. The number is 949-381-0044. That is 949-381-0044. Y'all let me know. Why somebody let's talk about why they pocket watching. Why are they hating? The slightest little bit of justice and they just losing their damn minds. They are losing their minds. But we got calls already on the hook. All right. I'd like to see that. Why is my mouse freezing? Hold on. I'm gonna have to change the battery in here real quick. Hold on. Excuse, my mouse just froze, so hold on. Y'all just give me 1 second. My mouse froze. It's okay. I gotta do stuff manually. It's always something. Okay. Caller from area code 708. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, greetings, Afro. This is Crew.
Oh, what's on your mind, brother?
Chilling. I believe, I've been through a similar case like this. They don't put everything out on the news beforehand. Most of the stuff you're not going to get to discovery. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, most of the stuff, like my case, I told you about my case before. Same case, same charge and everything. But yeah, they're not going to put anything out on the news. Most of the video and stuff is going to come out in discovery. We don't know what's going on. We're just speculating. I didn't see most of the stuff when I was, during my case, because I was locked up. But they lowered my bond twice. You get me? And that was after the judge saw the video or saw the evidence. The news didn't get to see that because those are closed proceedings. just with your lawyer, the prosecutor, and stuff like that. So then they argue, make the arguments, oh, how strong is the case, this, that. But like preliminary, they saying in Texas, he hasn't even gotten indicted. You know, so I don't even know if there was a pretrial hearing yet. You know, in Illinois, they got to do that. They don't do indictments up here, really. They just do, the pretrial or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it's different. It's different in different states. And then also, one thing I wanted to bring to your attention, I'll send it to you on X or whatever, however I can message you, right? But I'm reading the Texas law, and it says you justify using deadly force if you're justified under self-defense, and when to the degree the actor reasonably believes deadly force is immediately necessary, A, to protect the actor against other use of deadly force, or to prevent the other's imminent commission of kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, robbery, or aggravated robbery. Now, then the twin brothers say that they pushed him and then tried to grab his bag and tried to move him.
Yeah, according to the twin, they did. He put his hands on him and his bag, according to his twin, Hunter.
Oh, the case is beat. Everybody arguing over nothing. The case is beat. They tried to rob him. That's deadly force justified right there. Right there. Then when you get he's outweighed by 80 pounds by two people, then that even adds more to it. All the kids, he said what he needed to say and just shut up. Wait till trial.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
So that's all I wanted to say, bro. I'll holler at you.
Appreciate you. We're going to have to keep the calls to about 3 minutes. There's a lot of people on the call lines. So everybody, I'm trying to get to everybody, let a lot of people speak. So everybody got to keep it like about 3 minutes. All right. Caller from area code 949. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, brother Afro, how's it going, man? I just want to give a shout out to the FBA family for sticking behind this young man.
Shout out to you, but what's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, it's Brother Hurt, man. Brother Hurt.
Oh, Hurricane, brother. What's up with you, man?
Yeah.
All
right, how you doing, man? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, as I was saying, I just want to basically, commend the family for sticking behind this young man, and basically coming together, supporting this FBA family, because they FBA, they actually out of Louisiana, and they moved to Texas. Yeah, and also Mr. Karmelo has a lot going for him. He has a 4.0 GPA, straight A student, active in his church, captain of the football team. That speaks to character, and in a court of law, character goes a long way. He doesn't have a criminal record, so he's got a lot of this nipped in the bud. In addition to that, both the Texas Penal Code, both penal codes of self-defense, that's 9.31 and 9.32. Basically, the self-defense is in the eye of the actor. Okay, so if you have to have three elements in order to react and in a self-defense way, in the form of self-defense, and that's basically being fear that your life is in danger, inducement of fear, and threat of force. So when Hunter Metcalf and Austin Metcalf confronted him, it was two people. And if we really look close, at the matter, Hunter and his brother were basically committing a Class A misdemeanor assault on him by grabbing him and swinging on him. You see, and in the perceived mind of the defender, he had the right to react because he was provoked. They put hands on him. They were aggressive. Okay, and out of that aggression, he responded due to duress and defended himself. So that's all he has to meet as far as his theory of self-defense. That's the inducement of fear for his life, and them putting hands on him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so it's looking good for him. I think that the tape is going to come out that they're going to show that those two twins were the aggressor. And then I want to see what the white supremacists are going to say about that.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I called you Hurricane. It's Herc, not misheard you.
Yeah.
Brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We hung out at the museum, brother.
Yeah. I remember. This is my brother Herc. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
That is a good point, but I got to get to the other call.
Peace.
You for the call.
Take care. Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah. When the evidence comes out, everything is going in. Everything's going well for the family. We got a lot of people on the call, so I want to make sure I get to everybody. Caller from area code 470. You're on live. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hello, my name is Sandra, and I'm but I'm in Georgia.
Okay, Sandra, what's on your mind, sister?
There's a few things I want to bring up, and I'll keep it short. When you're in a physical altercation with somebody, it only takes a few seconds for it to go from something that's minor to literally deadly. So for them to make the claim that, they could just black his eye or bust his lip, there's no way for you to know what level of threat or force that the Metcalf brother was going to do to Karmelo.
Mm-hmm.
So it only takes a few seconds for this situation to have gone. And they can see that from, Karmelo's response, right? So his response went from, in a matter of seconds, from not deadly to deadly. So it could have easily been on the opposite side of that. But see, this is the thing. When you talk about these white supremacists, they only like a situation where Black people are only able to defend themselves after they're already dead. Okay, they want us to be dead before we try to defend ourselves. So, no matter how this situation will play out, no matter what the footage comes out, their response will always be the same, because this isn't based on actual values. See, for me, I do value the self-defense, right? I value it in a way where I'm going to apply it to every situation that I have. It doesn't matter what the race, creed, whatever the person is. If I look at a situation and the facts say self-defense, I'm going to feel that same way. However, when it comes to these white supremacists, okay, what they're going to do is they're going to manipulate it however they want, just so that the Black person in that situation is wrong. For instance, look at the situations with Back the Blue. It was Back the Blue in all these situations, but as soon as it was a Muslim Black man, now it's, he needs to go to jail. You guys need to arrest him. And I think he's still sitting in jail right now. So, these ideals that they claim are not based on anything real. It's just something that they use to justify their viciousness and their vitriol and their disgusting behavior towards Black people. But that's all I really wanted to get on here and say.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, do you talk about Black the Blue? What about that one Black cop at the Capitol? I think his name is I forget his name. I think it might be Eugene, the Black cop who shot Ashley Babbitt. They talking about he was this rogue, insane cop and he needs to be charged and all. What happened to police got a dangerous job? What happened to that? What happened to police got family they got to go back home to? So it seems like the rules start to change depending on the race. It's Back the Blue, but it's really back white. That's really what it means. So they always changing the rule. That's a really good point. Thank you. I appreciate your call. Let's get you caller from area code 224. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Isaac from Arizona. So
his name was Michael Bird.
I actually
where did Eugene come from? You said Isaac from Arizona. What's on your mind, brother?
So I'll be quick because I actually have a story that's very similar to like what Karmelo's going through right now. I moved down to Arizona. I'm from Illinois originally. I moved down to Phoenix not too long ago, like I'm around my freshman year of high school. And I ran track just like Karmelo. I was an honor roll student. I was varsity on the track team freshman year. I was cold with it. Well, I was also on ROTC. So pretty much everybody, like I got to see, I was in all sides of the school. Everybody in schools and high schools be carrying knives. Like all the ROTC carried knives, band kits, they had stuff. Like it's very common. I don't know why these people are trying to act like that's not something that happens. But the way they run you through the ringers is one day, I guess an aide from the state came and she saw I had one. She reported me to the dean. They, obviously they have to do their things, even though they knew me. Like I said, I was varsity captain of trap team. I had to go talk to the dean, explain myself. Well, yeah, this is my knife, blah, blah, blah. They had me go I had to go to a formal meeting, me, my dad, the dean of the school, and I had to talk to one of the superintendents of the school district. I'm not kidding.
Damn.
And we had to have a whole sit down and explain why I had this pocket knife that everybody else brings to school, blah, blah, blah. And the dean himself vouched for me. He said, this is a good kid. He's never been in trouble, straight A/B honor student. He's in track, blah, blah, blah. Very similar situation that Karmelo's going through. And superintendent was like, okay, well, we'll take all this into consideration. A few weeks go by, we get a letter in the mail. Yeah, I'm suspended for the whole semester. That's half the school year. So yeah, that's just kind of how the system be doing us. But all these other kids, like I said, they have knives and stuff too. But when it comes to us, they make sure to go crazy. They make sure to go crazy with it. And this strikes personally for me because, like I said, I'm in this pretty much same situation. That could have been me. I could have been Karmelo. You see what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. So I just wanted to chime in with that.
Yeah, see, that's a good point. It goes to show we're always over punished for everything, every little thing. Despite how good we are, they say just pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and you'll be okay. But despite how great you may be, they will find a way to over punish you or punish you for something that really you didn't. It's not like he used the knife, they just found it. It's not like he cut somebody or nothing. Caller from area code 971. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Afro, this is Jacoby. How you doing?
I'm good. How you feeling, brother?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Good. You know what? At this point, they want a holy war.
Jacoby? Where are you calling from?
Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay. All right. You got it.
Yeah, I peep what they're doing, and it's getting my blood pressure going. They want a holy war, and they're pushing all the buttons to get us to do it. And I would say to all the folks in the Black community, don't give it to them. What we need to do at this point is we've been talking about the code for years now. We need to start taking it to lawsuits and start suing these folks, getting out of line, and start really kind of building a war chest. If it's possible, donate to you, super chat, whatever, and only have one spokesperson talking and just go basically silent. Don't even give them the time or day. Don't give them anything, because at this point, it's pissing me off. This Lily lady, she has my undivided attention now. Okay, so it is best we go silent. Don't say nothing. Nothing. Just build up a war chest. Stay on code. Don't even debate anymore. Don't even debate anymore, because what we need to do is start saving these videos, because once the truth starts coming out, they're gonna try to delete them. And I would say, look, Black folks, don't give it to them. Don't give them what they want. This is what they want. They've been itching for this for a while. Don't give it to them. Let's build up a war chest. Let's stay on code. Let's have one person like Afro Elite or Black Alpha speaking at this point, because you're not going to convince anybody. They've already turned this into a race thing because they started it. We didn't start it. They started it recently. And it's been like that. So we have to look out for our brother. I'll land my plane.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Thank you for that. I'm gonna say this. What we're doing, smart. We are doing the smartest thing. We're not being too emotional. We're not we're not protesting. Everything we're doing is legal. We're raising the funds legally. We're advocating for him on a legal basis. We're not just saying, well, y'all put us in chains and y'all enslaved us, so this is our payback. We're not doing that. We're not mocking Austin's death. Everything we're doing is proper, and that's causing them to lose their minds. The little that they have, but they're losing it. They're going crazy because they're feeling like they're going to lose. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be upset right now. Because winners don't feel upset if they feel like they're going to win. They feel already that they're going to lose. That's why they're so mad. But let me get to the next caller. That's a good point. Do just be patient, be logical, and we keep doing what we're doing. Caller from area code 940. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from? We got a lot of callers.
Oh, is this Paul? Is this me? Hello?
Yeah. 940.
Yes. All right, yeah. So I live in Frisco. I'm probably a couple of miles away from the location where it happened at.
Yeah, okay.
I just moved here from LA in August. But I want to tell you this, that this is some real important stuff you got to know, because I trained a real prominent high school football kid out here who played against Metcalf.
What's your name? Real quick.
I don't want to say my name because then I play in the NFL.
Okay, well, can you give me what's your name in the chat room? A name, something I can refer to you as.
They're gonna know. I don't want to tell my name.
But okay. Hello? You don't want to give a name at all?
I just know that
name in the chat room, because some people call up in the chat room with their chat room name. I'm not asking for your personal
information. I don't have a chat room. I was just watching YouTube and I just saw the number. I was like, I gotta call and get some real information out. And I just want to, you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Because if I give you my real name, they're gonna Google me up and they're gonna put everything together. I don't want that to be. I don't want that to happen. But yeah, I'm.
You got it.
But anyways, I'm sorry to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No disrespect, brother. But the thing about it is, when the first happened, I was training this kid like a couple hours after it happened. I was like, hey, hear about that? We already knew. We got the story quick. So the story that everybody's hearing is all that extra fluff stuff, though. But nobody talks about. There's a couple things they don't talk about. They're talking about, and we don't talk about this. Like the people who are defending Karmelo, he got his phone broke too. They broke his phone. You know, on one of the attacks. Also, I see a lot of the white media keeps saying, "Oh, he's a football star." The kid I trained, he said, "Nah, he was buns. He wasn't good. He was just an average little football player." And they're making it seem like, "Oh, he's a football star. He's a football star." And then the third thing is this: Karmelo is a lead. He was on the track team. A captain on the track team and the football team. Austin Metcalf, I don't think he wasn't even running track. So what was he doing that to me? Also, they wasn't at a high school. They was at a stadium up here. They wasn't at a high school. So there's these narratives we gotta dismiss. It wasn't at a high school. Austin Metcalf don't run track. Look it up. So what was he doing that to me? So you talk about Karmelo should have moved. No, he was doing it because it was raining with his homie. Mm-hmm. He's participating in the meet. Metcalf was not participating in the meet. I could be wrong, but I don't think that was to be true. So I just think it's like a lot of stuff that I got the story early. I knew what it was. I'm right up the street from here. So, you hear it early. Now everything's on telephone and getting out of hand. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I'm not trying to boo-boo on Austin Metcalf, but he was not a football star. He had no scholarships. He's just an average little player.
All right. Thank you, brother.
All
right. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of people on the chat. He didn't know his name. I'm gonna say, as of right now, I have not seen confirmation about it could be his cell phone's broke, but I've not seen confirmation about that. So I got to be very careful with me hosting a platform, what messages I condone. I don't know that. So I'm just saying, he might know. It might be true. It might not be true. I'm not saying that. But y'all don't got to be scared to give a name. Ain't nobody looking for y'all like that. Come on now. The only reason I took it is because he said he's from the area, to be honest. But besides that, like, you can say your first name. Ain't nobody gonna recognize you. Like, all right, okay. But shout out to him though. I guess so. Caller from area code 972. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Afro? This El Felice. I'm calling out of Dallas.
What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, yeah, I was looking at what the DA was saying, and they didn't seem too confident when they came back out to speak to the public. They were saying that they was going to give it up to the grand jury and let them bring the case before them. Usually when they come out really not confident in Dallas, that means that they really don't have nothing. I think the DA is trying to take his hands off of this. I think he done already seen the evidence, and he's going to let the grand jury dismiss this case. When you look at I won't even call it the facts, but when I'm looking at the tent and where the body end up at, the body is like 15 feet away from where the tent is at. If Austin and Hunter's main objective was to get Karmelo away from the tent, how are they up 6 or 7 rows up in the bleachers? That's because they chased that boy up those bleachers. And the video evidence gonna show that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the DA is looking the way that they looking. The DA looked pretty defeated when they came up out of that bond hearing. So I look for the charges to be dismissed. I appreciate you for having me up. You have a good day.
Appreciate you. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's be honest, like when you look at the situation, when you look at the actual photo of it, where the tent was and then where the body ended up. Now, according to the arrest record, they said that after Austin was stabbed, he ran away and he was all like, "Oh, somebody help me, I've been stabbed," and all that stuff. And I mean, that's a perfectly normal reaction. If you get stabbed, you're gonna run away. But what I don't, and I'm not making any accusations, but what I question is how the body wound up the stairs and the tent is on the floor and you wind up the stairs. If you get stabbed, you ran away from the people and you ran up to me, I would need to see something about that. That's an interesting reaction to have if you were in the tent with the situation going on and then you get stabbed and ran like you ran damn near to the top of the steps. I don't know why you would do that instead of running to somebody to get up some help. That's it. And I'm not trying to, cast any aspersions, but I'm just trying to say, or disrespect the family. I'm just trying to say, to me, that's a very interesting reaction to run up some bleachers instead of to somebody to help you. I don't know. Some questions we got to ask. Caller from area code 504. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, brother Afro Elite. This is G from New Orleans.
What's on your mind, brother?
How you doing, brother? I've been listening to your broadcast. I've listened to you for a while. A lot of stuff you said, I've actually commented, so it's good to talk with you. You're doing great with your broadcast. I'll try and keep my comments as short and brief as I can, but a couple of things. I'm both an attorney. I'm also in real estate business, and I just want to address something when you put that. I can't even call him an Uncle Tom because Uncle Tom actually is a hero in the book, in Harriet Beecher Stowe's book. But Brandon Tatum guy, I'm just gonna call him a guy for this. He told flat out lies in that broadcast, especially when he talked about the money that was being spent on the house and the car. Because if you know anything, number one, in order to buy a house and car or rent a house and car, even if it's a rental, you still have to go through credit reports and checks, and that takes time. That takes days. Same thing with trying to buy a car. They got to run a check or background checks on you, see where the money is coming from, credit scores, and so forth. So TMZ already put out a statement because they asked the gentleman who owns the platform why they gave him this. He said the family has not collected any money. So if I were the attorneys for Karmelo Anthony, I would be filing injunctions or sending cease and desist letters to this bootlick right now and the rest of these other bootlicks. It's not just Brandon Tatum. It's also that dude Robert Smith. I saw him say some stuff too, and I want to point out something too. The man is innocent until proven guilty. Nobody knows what the facts are until it goes to court and trial. We all got to wait and see what happens. And I have seen a lot of people get convicted or even tried on the pettiest of things, even the lesser, with even the smallest amount of evidence. And that's because the states can do that. Now, as far as self-defense concerns, Texas is a stand-your-ground state, as is Louisiana. We have stand your ground and stand your ground. I just want to clarify that what that means is if you're in a place where you have a lawful right to be, it doesn't have to be in your home. It could be out in public. You have a right to defend yourself. And if those boys came at Karmelo, first off, they're not teachers. They're not adults. Who are you to tell somebody you got to move? You're not a cop. You're not a teacher. If he was in a wrong area, you let a coach or something. No, you don't put your hands on someone. Now, I hate that this escalated to the situation it is. Nobody likes seeing anybody get killed, especially young life. And their lives, both of these families' lives have changed forever. But the fact of the matter is, the people who have made this a racial issue isn't even us, it's them. And the bottom line is, I'm hoping that this brother gets the best defense that he can get, because that's what our Constitution says. That's what it is. So I'm about that. And I know you got to run with other callers, brother, but I had to get that off my chest.
Thank you, brother. And that's very true. He's innocent until proven guilty. And all we're saying is that he deserves a fair trial and a fair legal defense. So thank you for that. All right. Let's get to the next caller. More callers. I definitely want to make sure I get to everybody. So caller from area code 281. You're on live. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Hakeem, man. I'm calling from Houston.
What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah. Basically, I want to clear something up real quick, but the main thing I was trying to say is the same thing the brother from New Orleans said, and I think the brother from Portland. We need to send these videos to Karmelo's attorney. That was the main thing I wanted to say. But then, like I said, those brothers already spoke on that. The thing I wanted to clear up is, man, I ran track out here in Texas back in what, 02, 03? You know what I'm saying? My daughter ran track in her 9th and 10th grade year. She's about to graduate this year. But the thing is, bro, when we run track, we always roam freely around the track. Like if it's not your event, if your event ain't up, like you can roam around the whole track field, bro. Like there is no, oh, you can't go under this team tent or nothing like that. Cause we had friends that went to other schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we might be hollering at girls from other schools, stuff like that, bro. So they need all that. Oh, he was under the wrong, cut it out. Cause there is no rule at these track meets to where we can't go mingle with other students, other athletes from different schools. That's all I wanted to say. It's been like that for years. I graduated 21 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And it's still the same to this day.
Yeah.
That's all I had, brother. I like what you're doing, man. But like I said, we got to get these videos out to Karmelo's attorney.
Yeah, definitely. It's
brother.
I know they're dealing with something right now, but it definitely can be some civil lawsuits, you know, against
yes,
the
sir.
It should be.
Yes,
There
sir.
should be some type of accountability. But thank you, brother.
All right now.
All right. He make a very solid point. That's a very solid point. You know, there is no school policy that you have to be under your team's tent. And they know that. That's why they don't want to say it's the school's tent. Notice Brandon Tatum, Melanie King, Charleston White, all of these people, all of what's that white lady name? Megan Kelly, all of them, they're not saying it's the school's tent. They're saying it's not his tent. By doing that, they're trying to imply that the tent belonged to Austin, and the tent didn't belong to Austin. It's not his tent. Caller from area code 225. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Woo, man. Yo, I'm Bees. I'm from Baton Rouge, man.
What's on your mind, brother?
Look, I look at right and wrong, bruh. And one thing that concerns me is, you know, I don't like how niggas, they happy that somebody died, bruh. And that self-defense thing, like, bruh, I done fought hella niggas in high school, bruh. So you telling me that any one of them boys could have killed me because I fought them, or I could have killed them?
Well,
I just think that's a dangerous message to me.
But let me get to the first thing. Let me get to the first thing. You said we're glad that somebody died. Who was glad that somebody died?
Man, look, I be on the internet, bro. A lot of niggas is. A lot of niggas celebrating that their kid died, bro.
Do you think that I'm
That
glad
shit
that
wrong.
somebody died? Or have you seen anything in the chat
No,
room
I
that
ain't
we're
saying
celebrating?
you, bro. I ain't saying you, but I never seen that before. People be happy that, like, this man in high school, bro.
Yeah, okay. Oh, all right, and that's fair. That's fair to say. But you called in to say that we were glad that somebody died. Okay, let me ask you a question.
No, not you, homie. But a lot of niggas is. You go on Instagram, homie, YouTube, you see that shit.
Okay, all right, and there's crazy people all over the internet. Let me ask you a question. Were people glad that Jordan Neely died? Were people glad that Trayvon Martin died? Were people glad that George Floyd died? Were people, because I'm just saying, like, they weren't glad, so they weren't like making memes and making jokes, and there wasn't a viral George Floyd challenge where somebody kneed on somebody's neck. That didn't exist. People weren't celebrating that.
Before.
You never saw that. Okay.
Not me personally.
It's very interesting that the only thing I'm just saying is interesting that the only things that you've seen are things that where black people are celebrating that somebody died, and you haven't seen the viral clips of the George Floyd challenge or all of the memes and or the people wearing blackface.
I think a lot of people calling that for a crackhead and shit.
Jordan Neely.
And guess what? They wrong too. And if that's happening,
no,
they
I'm
wrong
saying
too.
no. It's not they're wrong too. It's not no two because we're not doing.
Yeah, they wrong.
No.
That's somebody's life, bro.
It's not their
life like that,
sir. It's not their wrong. Also, or two, because we're not doing what they're doing. We're not doing the Austin Metcalf challenge like they were doing the George Floyd challenge. We're not doing. We're not threatening the family of the deceased. We're not doing that. That's what they were doing.
Hold up. Somebody was sending death threats to them people. They had to move.
Who had to move?
Karmelo. That's why they moved into another house, huh?
Yeah, because they were sending racial.
They were sending death threats to the people, huh?
Well, technically, you said no. You said they moved.
I don't like that,
sir. You said they moved. They relocated.
Yeah, because
they haven't officially moved. They relocated. Yeah, and why should they not do that? They can't do that because do you not know that Kyle Rittenhouse? Sir, calm down. Do you not know that Kyle Rittenhouse did the same exact thing where he relocated?
Hey, bro, that. He killed 2 white boys, man. Like,
no, we're not talking about his situation. He relocated. That's what we're talking about. Is that wrong for somebody to do? It's wrong.
You should do that if people sending death threats.
Okay.
You should do that if people sending death threats. Yes.
Okay. So
I'm just saying that he following the same thing.
Okay. And your problem with the way black people are handling this situation?
No, my thing is, like, how come he gets to yell self-defense, right? But all them cats that I done fought in high school and that everybody else did, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we would have done that, bro, homie, if I would have done that, I've been in jail, bro. I will be in jail, dog. I'm a nigga, and that shit dangerous because what they saying is, look, I'm a big dude, bro. If I get in any altercation with anybody, they can just blast me, homie, and yell self-defense, and I get no justice. That's just that thing.
Why would you go to somebody if they're telling you and let me ask you a question. Let's put you in Austin's position. If you were Austin and somebody else was Karmelo, would you listen, hold on. Would you go to somebody's tent, a tent, not your tent, but your team's tent, your school's tent, and see some random stranger and physically force them to get up out the tent, would you do that?
I'll tell the niggas to move. You don't belong here. This is all
Now,
shit.
if
You better
hold
go.
on. If you told them to move, and they said no, I don't want to move, what would you then do?
Hey, say look, bro. Hey, me personally, if it got that crazy, bro, and you talking to me that crazy, bro, we gonna have to push you out of there.
So you would put your hands on them? You would put your hands on them? Just a yes or no, sir.
But guess what? That's
No, not guess what. Just yes or no. We're having a respectful conversation.
Yeah.
You would put your hands on somebody for being in a tent that belonged to your school.
If that nigga ain't moving.
Okay. And if that person told you to leave them alone or something's going to happen that they're ready to defend themselves, you would still put your hands on them?
Ready to defend themselves. Like if they had, say we in that case that boy was in. If that boy showed me a guy, we're not
changing. No, we're not going to change
people like, hey, look, this man got this guy.
You need to stop because we're not going to change the situation. We're not, because
you're
slipping up. You're slipping up. So you're going to assault somebody for not being in a space that you don't want to. Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Really? We are 17 years old. Really? Assault?
Hold on, sir.
You know how many people assaulted me in high school?
Shut up, sir. If you walk into a restaurant and you're standing in line of the restaurant and somebody wants to cut you in line, so they grab you and they pull you to the side, is that not assault?
I might mush him. I ain't gonna lie, I might mush him. But look, if I do that, them niggas
hold on. So you're telling me if somebody came up to you and unjustifiably put their hands on you, you would also put your hands on them, right? You would defend yourself, right? Yes or no?
Yeah, but guess what? Now that's just the president.
Guess what? Ain't no but guess what? Ain't no but guess what? There is no but guess what?
Explain myself,
no,
you let them other people say, can I explain myself?
So I can see with this type of mentality why you get into so many fights at school. Honestly, I can see
why. What?
I can see why you got into so many fights at school. If you think that it's appropriate for you to be able to just run around and put your hands on, I can see why you got into so many fights in school.
I ain't killed nobody though.
Why were you putting your hands on somebody? Why were you putting your hands on somebody? The fact that you think that it's appropriate and it's okay for somebody, for you to just assault somebody, is something else.
I don't think it's appropriate to kill somebody. For that, I can understand if all the niggas is whooping his ass, yeah. But just for somebody shoving you, hell no. That's corny.
What's corny is assaulting somebody, sir. What's not corny is self-defense. That's what's not corny.
Let me ask you a question. Is not being able to fight your way out that shit.
I want to ask you a question just real quick. We have more callers. Just real quick. In the situation with George Zimmerman, was George Zimmerman acting in self-defense?
That bitch the devil. That bitch the devil. That bitch belongs under the fucking prison.
Okay,
that bitch
so that
the
was
devil.
Self-defense.
That was injustice.
Kyle Rittenhouse self-defense?
That wasn't self-defense.
Kyle Rittenhouse was in self-defense.
I haven't explored that whole shit. All I know is that they said like two motherfuckers.
Anytime we show the exact same situation with a white person doing the exact same thing in self-defense, these people, I don't know about that situation. Sir, you're wasting time, sir.
I just told you what I thought about George Zimmerman, dog. Don't do that.
Said George Zimmerman, but then you said you didn't know about Kyle Rittenhouse. How do you not know about Kyle Rittenhouse?
I was just about to tell you. All I heard was that two motherfuckers was chasing him and he gunned them niggas down.
Okay, well, you need to do more research, and I don't have time to really teach you on that situation. So
you don't got to, bro.
He just admitted
just
that
be safe
it doesn't
and don't get into it with nobody because we can't fight no more.
Shut up, sir. Okay, he's gone. He just admitted that a tent that doesn't belong to him, he would literally walk up to somebody and physically assault them in order to get them out the tent. That's what he just said. And this just goes to verify that I don't screen any calls. I don't know who's calling up. I didn't know he was going to call up. I figured one of the trolls were going to do that, but I didn't know. Caller from area code 657. You're on live.
Hey, what's up, Afro Elite, man? Hey, man, it's D out of Cali, bro.
What's on your mind, D?
I never in my life, Afro, into the whole chat, I never seen this line of Coonan, Candyland, Django movie, Samboing in my goddamn life. Never. In my whole 40 years, Afro, I never seen this type of Coonan, Sambo ass stuff going on, and you know, and then you got to include the tether class with that, man. I never seen that in my life, man. It's so damn disgusting. It's so damn despicable. It's so damn it's like the stuff that's in between your mouth when your mouth is dry. That white stuff in between your lips, in the corner of your lips. It's like that type of stuff. Disgusting, man. It's oh my God, man. You know, I never seen this type of Coonan and Samboing in my life, and you know. It goes to show and let us know that these people basically sell out their firstborns for $1 bill, bro. So those they let you know that those type of individuals, Afro, cannot be trusted in the community. They you know, you have a pedophile, you have a snitch, and then you have a goddamn coon. They all in the same category, and they all sinking in the same type of boat. These are the type of people we need to eliminate out of the black community and exile them and save all everybody in the chat on YouTube. Save all your videos of all those coons, Officer Tate, Ringo TV, and Anton Daniels, Big Nose Daniels, all the rest of them. Save all those videos so we can be reminded who to exile out the black community. Because half of these folks, they lined up and probably married a white lady or married a white man or something like that. So they feel as though that they already adopted into the white supremacist community. So they feel that they don't have no allegiance to us and they don't have no camaraderie, chemistry with us or nothing like that. So we need to exile them out the community. Bottom line. Now I want to get to my point, man. Hey, family, if you have any kids that goes to these suburban high schools or outside the black community where it's not that many blacks, there's 2 or 3 of y'all blacks or no more than 5 or 6 of y'all out there in the suburban area, and it's mostly suspected white supremacist kids go to those high schools. Make sure that you teach your kids about how they operate with your black ass and your kids. Because if something was to happen to your kids by either, you know, the other kids, white supremacist kids, or different other race of kids that don't identify as black American, you're going to have to teach them and let them know that if something happens to you, that they're not going to identify with you. You know, they're going to do whatever they have to do.
Brother, but yeah, I'm going to have to ask you to land because I got a lot more people on the call.
Yeah.
On the queue.
Yeah, B1, man. I just never seen so much coonery in my life.
Yeah, it's sad. It's absolutely sad. And the call before is a perfect show of that. Let me get to caller from area code 301. You're on live. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's going on, Afro? This is Torian.
Torian, brother. Talk to him, Torian. Talk to us, Torian. Talk to us.
Man, that call, the call before that one, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm sitting on the other end of this phone like, you got more strength than me. Because I would have been dropped that call. But the reason I was calling up is because I noticed that everybody, well, not everybody, but the usual suspects, as I like to call them, are going crazy and they are crashing out hard over this Karmelo Anthony situation, yet they are very eerily silent on Cody Balmer.
That's true.
Now, for those who don't know who Cody Balmer is, he is the one that set fire to the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro's mansion, while his family was inside the house. They're also silent on Nikita Kasich, who was the kid who took out his family and was plotting to, pull a JFK on Trump.
Yeah.
All of that happened around the same time. And now, for those who don't know, there's an individual currently on trial by the name of Kason Allison. If y'all don't know who Kason Allison is, he's this white well, he's a man now. I think he's 21 now. Down there, also in Texas, who stabbed his classmate, whose name was Joe Ramirez, to death in a bathroom back in 2022. And he's arguing self-defense. The trial is going on right now. They're like in the jury. I think they're on day 3 of the trial, and that's the only way I heard about it, because the trial is going on. We're talking about 3 years removed since this happened, and we're just now hearing about it. Some people in the chat, probably this might be your first time hearing about it, but they did not get outraged about any of those stories. As a matter of fact, there was a story that came out recently in Fort Lee, New Jersey, where there was this person who got stabbed at a school. They didn't die, but they were in critical and stable condition over a prank gone wrong, quote unquote. At least that's how they're framing it. Now, you had all of that stuff going on in the like literally in this month. But the only thing they want to lean in on is Karmelo Anthony. And that's why I did that live that I did last Saturday, because I wanted people to see those posts that people were making and showing that they were the ones that were leading with the racial angle of it. Like Matt Walsh was one of the ones that was leading the charge. And then see how they try to flip it on to us and trying to tell us that we're the ones that's making it about race. And I'm like, see, master manipulators. I said, this is why they are their clan ancestors. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, I posted up a screenshot of that Lily Gaddish chick and talking about the post that she posted up on her Twitter account, talking about this is why we need. She said this is why we need to go back to lynching or something. That's the one. That's the one right there.
I got this screenshot from you. I retweeted it, and I took a screenshot of it. Actually,
First off, I can't believe all the engagement that post got. That thing is still moving, and I posted it 2 days ago, and it's still getting traction. Yeah, Lily Gaddis, that woman right there, she posted that up there, and she had some other people commented underneath it as well. And you know, this is Elon Musk's Twitter, so they didn't take the post down. They left it right up there. But I'm gonna do a live on Saturday, going over their crash out about them basically pocket watching. I said this is basically why I always kept saying that FBA, we are the most pocket watch people on the planet.
Man, for real.
In every facet, and they've been wrong. And the thing is, because they're crashing out so much out of emotion, they're getting everything wrong. You had to have freaking TMZ, of all places, come out and say that Karmelo Anthony's family did not dip into the Gifts and Go to get that house. TMZ, of all places, had to say that. You had to have the co-founder of Gifts and Go issue a statement. You had to have the Gifts and Go account go back and forth with these white supremacists. They never did that before with anybody else until now. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And the thing is that logically speaking, you couldn't. Somebody in the chat room, I think it was a white lady, said, "Oh, well, they could have used them. They could have bought it with cash." You can't buy a mansion with cash. You can't pull up and say, here's $1 million worth of cash. Let me buy a house. That's not how that works either. It's not even logical to assume that they could use this money and so quickly buy a house with it. That doesn't make any sense. You would have to funnel the money through something else in order to do that. It wouldn't even make sense. They're crashing out.
Like, and hard. And they pulling out all the stops too. They keep trying to say that Karmelo, he's going back to the hood or something like that. I'm like, no, he grew up in a middle class home with both parents. He's well off. Like, he's living better than a good chunk of most black people. He's probably living better than they are. And they're just projecting. I'm like, what hood is he going back to? he lives, like, from what I understand, that Frisco, Texas, is, you have to have money to live there. Like, real money, like 6 figures and higher money to live there.
Yeah,
and they keep talking about the car. I'm like, no, they keep talking about the car. I'm like, no, the car. They already had the car. Then they go after the judge. I'm like, I mean, they literally are telling on themselves. Like, literally, they can sit there and tell themselves as much as they want, or us, what that, it's not about race and all types of stuff. But y'all was the one that literally kick that off. I remember when they was making posts talking about some they try to deem it as a quote unquote hate crime. I'm like, what proof do you have that Karmelo Anthony did what he did to Austin Metcalf because he was white?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like
Joey,
they were
I don't
throwing
know.
everything at the wall to see what stuck, and nothing is sticking.
I don't know if
Everything
you were
is
here
sliding down that wall.
in the beginning. There was this video I played in the beginning where there was two white, I don't know who they are, but they were two white dudes. I saw the video on Twitter, and they was all like, well, let's be honest, most black people don't even believe it's self-defense. They just hate all white people, or black people just hate white people, and black people are celebrating this because the person who died is white. In that situation, they're the ones claiming that he's a victim because he's white. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that this is some type of hate crime and war against white people.
See, what it is the thing is they are scared of what's going to come out or what's going to be revealed as true in that trial. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get ahead of it by putting out all this propaganda so they can muddy the water and spoil the well to get in people's heads that this is what it is. That way, when the truth does come out and things does get revealed the way that it does, and it doesn't go to the way that they want, they can still hang on it. They're doing the same thing as they did with George Floyd. When they kept saying, no, George Floyd didn't die from the knee on the neck, it was from a fentanyl overdose, is what the autopsy said.
Yeah.
They're doing the same exact thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. What time is your live on Saturday?
It's gonna be at 12 noon. It's gonna be midday.
Okay. You got a midday now. I know you got a lot of content, I can imagine.
Especially
by Saturday.
I've been on Afro, I have been on a bookmark spree for like the last week and a half. I probably have bookmarked at least 10 Twitter posts a day just on them crashing out over the fact that he has been receiving all this financial support. And I think another thing that they're hating is that Karmelo Anthony is getting all this support from just one Give Him Go, while you have Austin Metcalf, it's like multiple of them. Like I think they said one was made by the dad and another was made by the mom and the brother, and they're upset because Karmelo Anthony is getting more money. Then of course, they got upset because what the judge did, she reduced the bond from $1 million to $250,000, and now he's on house arrest. You got people out there lying, saying he's back in these streets. I said, which streets? He's on house arrest. What part of house arrest do you not understand? The house or the arrest? He has an ankle monitor on. They can track him. He can only go to certain places and by a court order. And that's not that many places to go. So what streets is he in?
Yeah.
He's not a flight risk. That's why they let him. That's why they put him on house arrest.
Yeah. Even still, this man is not a menace to society. They are like he shouldn't be deserved. Right. First off, the punishment don't start until you're convicted. He hasn't been convicted of a crime at all. So the bail is just to make sure that you actually show up to trial. He's gonna show up. He's not no menace to society or nothing like that. This is a good kid.
Yeah, but like I said, they have to taint his image first to get in the minds of people. See, the thing is not going to work because it's like we're really heavily pushing back against the narrative that they're trying to push. They said we are going to wait for all the facts to come out. The fact that they're crashing out the way that they are, and almost immediately. Because when I first heard about this, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know who the victim was. I didn't know who did it. I didn't know what state it was in. I didn't know what event, what city, none of that. I kept seeing pictures of this white boy, and I'm like, who is this? I don't know who it is. And even on the post, they never had his name. Like, it just said, people kept saying, white lives matter. I was like, oh, I already know where they headed with that. I said, what nonsense they done kicked up now? And then it took me like probably about a day or two later to actually find out who Austin Metcalf was and who Karmelo Anthony was. It took me like 2 days because the only thing I kept seeing for the first 2 days since that story broke, mind you, wasn't even on mainstream media. It was on Twitter from the usual suspect like your Matt Walsh. I think Matt Walsh was one of the first ones I saw. And you know how he get down. He is staunchly anti-black.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's the I get overwhelmed too. It was like one night I didn't see anything. The next night everybody's talking about it, and nobody's giving any details. Like I couldn't like nobody like made in a video. It hasn't been on really the news. The news didn't even make a video about it. I was confused originally until like a couple of days afterwards, because I think the twin, he made a video about it like maybe a 2 days maybe late, or the video came out like that like 2 days afterwards.
Yeah. But I'm gonna let you go, Afro, because we probably got some more calls. But I just wanted to call in and mention that. Like I said, if anybody in the chat, make sure, if y'all haven't done so already, look into those stories that I mentioned. I'm gonna say them again. Nikita Cassatt, Cody Balmer, and his last name is spelled Balmer, and Caden Allison. His name is spelled Cayden Allison, Allison. Like, really look into those, because all of that's happening right now, but you would never know because they keep honing in on the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf one with their propaganda, because that's the one that they can propagandize. The ones I just mentioned, they can't do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
They would look foolish trying to spin that. So because they can't spin it the way they want to, because with Caden Allison, the person he killed was Hispanic. With Cody Balmer, Josh Shapiro, white guy, and he, he's what I like to call the main character of the Usual Suspect Society. If y'all get what I'm saying. And then with Nikita, that would be white on white crime, because then they would have to talk about that because he took out his parents. Then he wants to take out the president, who's also a white man. So that's white on white crime, which was committed, plus an attempted white on white crime. So they can't do nothing with that. That's why they're not talking about it.
That's true. And they don't want to bring it up because that would go against the narrative that stabbing somebody is not self-defense. Because you can't argue both. You can't argue that it's self-defense in a very similar situation, but if he's white, it's self-defense. If he's not white, it's if he's black, it's not self-defense. So they can't even acknowledge those other situations because it would defeat their narrative.
Exactly.
But thank you.
I'm gonna let you go and let you go get some more callers.
I appreciate you. Be checking your live out this Saturday. Shout out to you. It's a good brother Torian over there. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Torian Rain Reloaded on YouTube. All right. And he made a post going viral on Twitter too. It's Torian Rain on Twitter. Caller from area code 228.
I got the beat.
Yeah, it's you.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? What's your name and where you calling?
Real good. You can call me Kay, Mississippi.
Okay, Kay. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm just wondering something, how this is all going to work out. You take a knife to a school function, go into the wrong tent, get told to leave, refuse, tell them touch me and find out, so you stab the kid and kill him. And that's self-defense. How come that boat ain't holding water?
Yeah, you said he went to the wrong tent. So was he not allowed to be under that tent?
No. Well, it's getting to sound like no, he was not allowed to be.
He wasn't allowed. So
it sounds like he didn't have any friends in there.
Let's get the rules. So it's against school policy for him to be under the tent.
If you're not in that school or don't have friends in there, what are you doing in there?
No. If he's not allowed to be there, it must be against school policy, correct? Right? So was it against school policy for him to be under that tent?
How about common sense?
No.
If you don't know anybody in there,
see,
why are you going in there?
Rage quitting, y'all. This is them rage quitting. Because you're saying the first argument is he's not supposed to be there. Okay, so it is against school policy, and he knows it's not against school policy for him to be in that tent. So that defeats the whole argument of he wasn't supposed to be there. So, sir, because he can't answer because he knows what the answer is. Sir, is it against school policy for him to be under another school's tent at a track meet where all of these schools are meeting up?
It's called trespassing.
It's called trespassing. at a track meet where he's supposed to be at the track meet?
Did the boy have friends in the tent? Did the dude have friends in the tent? You know that. No,
Did he have any friends in the tent?
We don't know, but he
have
doesn't
a
have.
friend
Sir,
there.
no,
Like
it doesn't.
that kid
First
has
off,
friends,
no, ma'am,
and
hold
he was
on.
asked to
Y'all, they so mad. Calm down. Is it
No,
against? Hold on.
Bill,
So is it school we got to get the rules straight first, because whether you believe he should have been there or not, that might be your opinion. But let's talk about the actual rules. Was he not supposed to be there? Is it against school policy? Yes or no? It's a simple question. Was it against school policy for him to be under another team's tent?
I'll tell you
when you're not supposed to be there.
No. Answer yes or no. Answer. If you can't answer yes or no, we're just gonna have to move on because you're wasting time.
You bet.
Yeah, have a good day. Better tell Carmelo we better hide because there's gonna be a lot of people out.
Oh, Carmelo straight. Trust me. He good. You see how they do? I didn't even have to get into the it's self-defense thing. Is it against school policy for him to be under the tent? Bam, just straight up like that. And the fact that he kept having to go around, does he have any friends? And that ain't got nothing to do with it. Is it against school policy? Yes or no? Caller from area code 407. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from area code 407. You're on live. What is your name? Where you calling from? All right. Caller from area code 310. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, first of all, I want to say all praises to the Most High. I appreciate your program, Afro Elite, FBA B1. My name is Scott. I'm calling from Minglewood. What I want to go over real quick is I've been out of high school for about 25 years. I ran track and field. Both my older brothers ran track and field. And just like another caller a couple calls ago, like he said, I think brother from New Orleans, like he said, at these track meets, everybody is roaming around, you know. Like I went to West Memphis Senior High School. You could have over in West Memphis, Arkansas, you could have a track meet at my high school, and it'd be track players, you know, track athletes or field athletes from different high schools, all meeting under one different tent, so on and so forth. So the issue is that with this young man about the whole trespassing issue and thing, first of all, if he was trespassing, the school should have had a sign saying no trespassing, first and foremost.
Yep.
Then on top of that, they should have made some type of announcement over the loudspeaker that said, okay, look, if you go to school ABC, you can't be intermingling with school DEF or XYZ. You have to remain in your own designated school zone that has been set up by quote unquote maybe like school administrators or so on and so forth. Now, here's what gets me about this whole thing. And this is just coming from kind of like my analysis of what's going on. I mean, my analysis of this whole case. I mean, I heard some people say like, yeah, it was raining. It started to rain. I mean, it's just common sense. If it's going to rain, I mean, if it's raining and you go and you take a seat under another team's tent to get out of the rain, I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, it's poor sportsmanship, even for somebody to come up and be like, hey, man, you know something? You don't go to the school, man. Get out in the rain. That's poor sportsmanship from my behalf. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all sportsmen. Now, here's what I you know, and I've told some people this too. I said, you know, if Karmelo Anthony would have been a white boy, you know, let's put the shoe on the other foot. If Karmelo Anthony would have been a white boy, I don't think them two white kids would have even said nothing to him. They would have looked around and said, oh man, hey man, it's you see that white boy back there from Centennial High? And then they probably would say, yeah, so what? Let him sit. It's raining outside, man, if he's under the tent. You know what I'm saying? So this, I think really what this whole thing comes down to is it's a racial element. And like Neely Fuller said, everything that you do is going to have a racial element to it. Now, here's where I get off into the nitty gritty about this whole thing. Okay. If the boy Austin Metcalf, if he asked Karmelo to leave and Karmelo refused to leave, and let's say he gave him another warning, say, hey man, you know something, you don't go to our school, and maybe Karmelo might have shot off at the mouth. So what, man? I don't go here. I ain't bothering nobody. Let me sit here. If he felt so bothered by that, then what Austin should have done is he should have went up, found his coach, okay, found the assistant coach, went over and got Karmelo's coach, Karmelo's assistant coach. In the absence of those four things, he should have went and found the school security officer, the school resource officer, or somebody in a position of authority. Now, I don't care who you are. You don't go around touching other people's stuff, and you definitely don't put your hands on somebody, because when you do that, you don't know how that person perceives that threat. I mean, you know, a lot of people, they out here talking about, well,
I have to ask you to because we got a lot more callers on there, so I'm gonna give you about
yeah. I'm okay. I'm sorry. I'm about to wrap it up in give me about 25 more seconds. So my saying is this: there's video footage that obviously they're not releasing because, like I said, if the shoe would have been on the other foot, they would already release the cell phone video and say, look, here's what happened. You know, Karmelo was the aggressor, but Karmelo was not the aggressor. I think something, and we got to get what was really said between, you know, all three of these, the two brothers and Karmelo, to where that brother felt that he was in imminent, you know, danger. And for them to grab him and for him to use whatever, you know, knife or so on and so forth that he did. And one thing, and I'm going to end on this right here, because I know you got other callers, and I promise, you know, 25 seconds. We don't even know. I heard it really wasn't even a knife. You know what I'm saying? But I know one thing from living down south, all the boys carried knives, you know, and I went to high school to where, you know, these guys, you know, white kids, they were still riding around with shotguns in the back window of their pickup truck. So me personally, I'm going to tell you, I agree. This was self-defense. This is something that they, you know, just trying to hype up. But I
don't know what happened. Appreciate you, brother. Yep, appreciate you. Caller from, come on now. It is getting late, so we're gonna have to keep all the calls kind of brief. I do want to get to. What just happened? Did something just happen? It says no connect to host. What just happened here? Hold on for 1 second, y'all. That was me who hold on. When they just shut the calls off. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 sec. I gotta reconnect for some reason. Hold on. Y'all just stay there and let me just reconnect real quick. Hold on, let me do that real quick. Hold on. I have no idea why that happened. Okay. They literally just disconnected my calls for some reason. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll get to the next caller. Here we go. Caller from area code. I don't know why that happened. Caller from area code. Wait, we still got.
We'll get to the next caller. Here we go.
Hold on, I got two callers on there. Damn. Hold on, I would just put you back in the queue.
No.
Yeah, hold on, real quick. I got two people on here at the same time. Caller from area code 708. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello.
Yeah. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Cameron from Roberts, Illinois.
What's on your mind?
Oh, not much. I'm not gonna be in the line too long. I've been waiting for almost an hour. Get your call from my parents. Yeah, I ain't see your live this like hours ago, but I'm gonna catch it up another time. Here I said this about this what's going on lately. Yeah, I'm glad that Afro got out on bond, and man, that was necessary. And whatever happened a week prior, who knows what happened? He said it was self-defense, so we go with that self-defense. Now, what's up with these other people that's going to be spreading they too? These other members too. I've named them I'm named some of them. One of them named Miss but Kate Keisha Kane, spelled with letter Quisa named Keisha Kane, and Ringo Starr. They said our name already. What else? Oh, Tamara Neely, something like that. Spelled with L. I mean N.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping track of
A-L,
all
one
of
of
them.
those names.
Thank you, bro. I'm definitely keeping track of all of them.
Okay, and the last one named what's his name? A real regular, something like that. I'm gonna put the names up in chat or on Twitter, one of those names. But that's
thank
another
you.
time. But thanks for your call anyway.
All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Okay, caller from area code 424. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Afro? This is social media superhero in the chat. Real name is Dominique. I want to say I'm calling from Los Angeles, by the way. I want to say first shout out V1 and to everybody, the FBA family in the chat. Love all of y'all. You know I do. And to you, brother, I want to say I'm real proud of you, young brother, man. You be on here, you be doing your thing. You always make sense. You know what you're talking about. So I want to encourage you, keep doing what you're doing. And you're just one of our bright, shining stars in the black media, and we appreciate you, man. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And so, so I want to give the family some information tonight, and I'm gonna try to dig deep and let y'all know what's going on here, because it's very relevant to this Karmelo Anthony case. So let me just say, first of all, my 40 plus years on this planet, I've seen a lot of things change, right? So when I was a kid, going through elementary and high school and all that, we used to punk these white boys on the playground. You know what I'm saying? In school or at the rec center or whatever. They knew they couldn't mess with us. You know, we were just, if they tried to mess with us, we'd be like, get out of here. You know, we was usually bigger, we was usually faster, we was more athletic, because, you know, that's just how we are. And FBA brothers and sisters, we got swag. So what's going on here is, like, over the past 20 or 30 years, I've noticed that all these groups have gone from being envious of us and wanting to be us to wanting to replace us. So what's going on is they get with the rap music, and we're really open with our culture, right? We got rap stars, we got basketball stars, we got everything, you know. So they've copied us and emulated us to the point where they think they are us or they're better than us. And so at this point, our kids are going through a whole different dynamic than when I went through when I was a child or in high school. So what they're thinking is, okay, we're like y'all. We can do what y'all do, but they can't really. But they think we're like y'all. We can do what y'all do. We can rap like y'all. We can say nigga. We can do this and that. We can play basketball like y'all. But if you notice, that's not good enough for them. Now they need to get rid of us. You see?
But
so they want to co-opt our culture and then get rid of it.
I'm gonna give you 30 seconds.
Okay. I'm gonna wrap it up. Don't worry, I'm gonna wrap it up. So what I want to tell the brothers and the sisters out here, okay, So what they're trying to do, they're trying to challenge us on all those levels, and don't go for it. If you get approached or anything like that, I was going to tell a story about me, what happened when I was in Virginia, but I'm in California now. But in these southern states where they have these open carry laws and all these stand your ground laws, what they're trying to do is bait you, basically. They're trying to bait you so they can have a reason to harm you. So don't go for it. Just maintain your cool and just be like, hey, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just be prepared to defend yourself, but don't respond emotional to what they're trying to do. That's my point. So I know you got other callers. I just want to encourage the family. Just be vigilant, be able to defend yourself, but don't respond emotionally to them trying to bait you. That's my main point, okay?
Yes,
So
sir.
y'all
Thank
be
you very
good.
much, brother.
FBA family. Love all of y'all. And Afro, keep doing your thing. Everybody in the chat, peace. Good night. Y'all have a wonderful
He's gone. Black person YouTube, thank
I'm
you.
good.
Caller from area code 252, 254.
Oh, that's it, 254?
Yeah.
I'm on.
Caller from
Hey.
area code 254.
Yeah, this is the thing. I'm in Texas, right? Texas have white gangs. I won't flip it on the other side. Keep saying, what if the kid wasn't white? If there was two Crips or Bloods that approached somebody that was wearing the wrong color and they poked them up, would nothing be said at all but self-defense. But more importantly, I got this question right here. Where do you think that's going to lead, not for the reparations, but for the law we're trying to push? Because on those tapes,
I had to mute you. What is your name? Just tell us what your name is. Look at them trolling. Look at what they do. What is your name, sir?
They call me Biggie Blue, aka Black the Matrix.
Black the Matrix. Okay, so what are you saying?
Oh, y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we hear
in Texas, we have white gangs. And a lot of times they'll send the bigger members to be initiated by beating up a smaller black guy. So to take race out of it, if two Crips or Bloods approach somebody for wearing the wrong color and a guy pokes them up, it's nothing but self-defense, because he's a neutron. But I'm saying on the reparations, you're backing it with the law. So by the end of this case, I want to know, where do you think that's going to leave us with that the law for harming black people? And I'm going to land my plane right there and just let you talk, brother. I appreciate all the work you put in.
As far as what, reparations?
No, the law for us. You know what I'm saying? Because
I mean, this is going to set a good precedent going forward. I don't think the law is going to change. They can't really change the law.
No, I mean for harming black people. Because what I'm hearing is the guys followed them seat to seat to seat to seat to seat, harassing them. You know what I'm saying? Because I got people that live in that area.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so basically whatever really comes out on the tape is probably going to be a hate crime, but the only thing is nobody really cares about us.
Who a hate crime against who?
Against him, because I can't, like I said, Texas have gangs, AB, AC.
A hate crime against Austin?
Yes, because I'm even hearing that the other brother really punched him in the back of the head, and that was really what sparked it and why he couldn't see, because you were too busy hitting him.
Okay, well, I didn't hear none of that, and we're not here to spread any misinformation.
I'm not trying to spread any gossip, but I'm just saying, either way it go, he was attacked.
Now you putting some stuff that I ain't heard nobody say nothing remotely close to that, sir. So we got to be very careful with the information we spread here. So
yes, sir.
Yep, yes indeed. With thanks. Okay, all right. Lord have mercy. Okay, it's a full moon out tonight. Caller from area code 951. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, yeah, my name is Ben, and I'm calling from SoCal. I'm in Riverside, California, actually.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, man, it's my first time, man, on your platform. I've heard you on Tyreek's, so it's good to be here. And I'm just hearing all these opinions. And, a lot of people are reacting, and they're falling for the corporatization of this case, because it's been corporatized. Now, everybody is jumping out with all these opinions, and like the last caller just throwing in information that I've never heard. So it's a lot of that right now. Now, what I will say is both of the boys, Austin and Karmelo, made mistakes. Okay? They both made mistakes. Austin already paid the price. Now, Karmelo, I believe it was something like involuntary manslaughter, because I carry a blade with me all the time. Okay? And I just told somebody, I stay with my blade on me. But I'm like, I'm not going to use it unless it was like a case where I believe I was getting jumped, or it was just real rowdy. Now, if it's just a fist fight, man, we're going to squabble up. So I do believe that Karmelo overreacted, and it might be a price to pay for that. Now, that's just from me looking on the outside. Now, as far as the law goes, a legal win, I do believe that he has action with the self-defense claim, for sure. But just like a lot of other people are saying, we have to wait until more information comes out. We got to wait. You know, we got to wait, because right now, like I said, this case has been corporatized. It's a shit show, if you ask me. And, but I will say this, man.
I'm gonna let you land. I'm gonna give you your 10 seconds to land.
10 seconds for sure. One thing that I can say, the takeaway is, man, I haven't felt this much bubbling animosity towards white folks since I've been a kid, man. And I'm 38 now. And a few callers ago, you had the guy from, I don't know if it was Mississippi, he had his wife or something in the background. That right there, man, that got me bubbling. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Because this shows that the collective conscience of white folks, man, it's still a dormant hatred that's coming out right now with a case like this.
Yep, that's true.
So it's a lot to this, man. But anyways,
appreciate it. But before I let you go, I will say, like, let me just ask you this one quick question. It's a yes or no. If you tell somebody that you have a knife and they still keep attacking you, they still keep coming, and you let them know multiple times, like, hey, leave me alone, don't touch me, you wouldn't use your knife?
Like I said, it depends. I got to get more information, because it depends on the severity of the assault. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it was just trying to push me and grab me or something like that, I'm not going to stab him, because I'm going to be in my right mind and know if I stab this person, I could potentially go to jail. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to squabble up with him, if anything.
Okay, but you don't think that in any situation, if somebody who you don't know at all is pushing you and grabbing you, and they're with their same equal sized twin, you don't think that that's a problem?
You know what? And right there, like I said, me personally, I probably wouldn't, but I don't blame somebody that would. That's what I'm saying. From a legal perspective, I believe that a person would have the right to do what they got to do. I'm just saying, being me, I don't think I would, but you're right. It depends on, how heightened my emotions are, my fear level.
Okay, yeah. Brother. Oh, yeah. Okay. I got you. Thank you.
I agree with you. I got you though.
Yeah. All right. Caller from area code 713. We are going to have to really wrap these things up. Callers keep coming in, and we're just gonna have to take a couple more. Because it seems like the calls are just never ending on this subject, and we've been on here for over 3 hours now. Caller from area code 317 713.
Okay, hello.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Cornelius. I'm out of Houston, Texas. What I want to do is kind of actually explain law, because we're getting confused on what self-defense actually is. In Texas, what happened would not be self-defense. It's a fight. When somebody fight and somebody get killed in a fight, that's manslaughter. You can't claim self-defense unless you're met with that level of violence. That's all I want people to understand. So I keep saying, people say, oh, well, Kyle Rittenhouse. The reason why Kyle Rittenhouse was able to claim self-defense is because if you actually watch the video, the white boy grabbed at Kyle's gun. Now, if you have a gun and somebody grabs at your gun, you're not going to let them disarm you.
I agree.
So that's self-defense.
Okay, I agree. And what about the other two people that Kyle shot? Not the one who grabbed his gun. We can pass that away. We can justify that. We can rationalize that he shouldn't have grabbed his gun. What about the other two people that Kyle shot? Was that self-defense?
That's collateral damage. They were collateral damage in the process.
They were
trying to go
collateral
over
damage.
and help.
Now he
Yes.
claimed all three of the people he shot was in self-defense. So if you want to give them a pass for saying he grabbed his gun, and saying that's justification,
it's not what I want to do. Y'all got this confused. It's not what I want. It's what the law says.
No, I'm
it's
saying
not what I want.
no,
That's what
because
the
you
law
just
says.
rationalized it. You did. You just rationalized it. You just said because he grabbed his gun.
Yeah, because
that
that's
makes
what
it
the law
self-defense.
said.
Okay, what about the other two people who did not grab his gun? Are they also self-defense?
Clearly, the law agreed with them. That's in Wisconsin or somewhere. I'm in Texas. I know
Clearly
what
the
Texas
law
law
agreed.
says.
No, are you, because you justified the first one, now you can't justify the second two. So now you're saying, well, clearly the law. No, ain't no clearly the law. Justify the second two like you did the first one.
Did he get off? That's the justification. They found him not guilty.
Well,
All I want black people to do is not get caught up emotionally.
Sir, with that argument, they haven't found Karmelo guilty. Karmelo is actually innocent until proven guilty. They have not proven that.
Well, no, Carmelo's not guilty of it. The only crime they can actually charge Karmelo with is manslaughter. It can't be murder because that was not murder. Murder has intent. In Texas, you have to have intent. That's not intent. They were in a fight. It was a scuffle went on. Somebody got stabbed. Had Metcalf pulled out a knife.
You said it's not self-defense. And then you went on to say Kyle Rittenhouse's case is self-defense. You excused one shot from one person. Kyle shot 3 people. You can't make rationales for all 3 of those people without saying that Kyle was excessive. But you don't want to say that Kyle was excessive. So you're saying,
Kyle
well, he got off.
No, I don't care about white people. So I'm not here to argue about white people.
If you didn't care, you brought Kyle up. You're the one who brought Kyle Rittenhouse up.
Well, because people keep saying, oh, it's the same thing, da-da-da. It's not the same thing. You have to look at what they said.
Okay, you brought it up, and you said it's different because somebody grabbed Kyle Rittenhouse's gun, which makes it self-defense. What about the other 2 people? When I said, what about the other 2 people that he shot? Oh, well,
collateral damage.
Those are collateral. That's collateral.
They were in the mix. They were in the mix. They were coming to help this guy attack Kyle.
Anybody in the crowd? Because somebody grabbed his gun.
If you're in the process of attacking somebody, that's not what I call the y'all want to argue about that. I'm not worried about Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm talking about the young black boy who's facing like serious stuff. Right now, what we need to be concerned with is that he actually get good law advice. He's not going to get self-defense. I'm already telling you. The only way Karmelo will get self-defense, and they'll let him go off of self-defense in Collin County, Texas. Okay, we got to remember where he's at. He ain't in Houston. He ain't in Dallas. He's in Collin County. That's predominantly white, racist white people. So they're not going to give him just the easy, oh, yeah, it was self-defense. The only way he'll be able to prove self-defense is if, like, say Austin went for his knife. Now, just because you pull out your knife. Now, if Austin went for Karmelo's knife, that's self-defense. You can't be unarmed. You just can't unarm somebody.
Was Austin assaulting Kyle? Yes or no?
If he was assaulted, and y'all want to say assaulted,
ain't no if. It's a yes or no, sir. Somebody put their hands on somebody. Do you agree with that? Do you agree? Do you concede to the fact that Austin put his hands on Karmelo?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay, is that legally assault?
Yeah, that's assault. But you can't kill for assault. That's what I'm telling y'all.
Hold on. If that's, let's say you can't. Let's say you can't do that. Is in Texas? Is there a stand your ground state? Is it a stand your ground law in Texas?
This would not apply to stand your ground. That's what I keep trying to let y'all realize. This ain't a stand your ground.
No. Let's just say yes or no. It's a stand your ground, right? So he didn't have to run away, right? That's all I'm trying to get. He didn't have to run away. He could have stood his ground there, right?
Standing his ground would be the fight.
Sir, did Karmelo not repeatedly warn Austin to keep his hands to himself?
You can warn all day. I'm telling y'all the law. Y'all trying to
No,
argue
no. You're not. You're
moralistic
first
shit.
off, you're
It's
not
the
just
law, y'all. It's
saying
the
the
law.
law. You're not just saying the law. You're putting your own spin on it. You're putting your own
No, that's
spin
the
on it.
law. That's the law.
No, according
How
to
am
the
I putting a
law,
spin on it?
according to the law, if you are under a threat, if you feel threatened for your safety, you can't stand your ground. That's
If
what
you feel
stand your
threatened
ground
for
means.
death, right?
Explain
It
what
has to
stand
be
your ground.
death.
Explain what stand your ground means, and how this doesn't
It has
apply.
to be death or severe body harm. So let's say
The
if I
person
come
has
at
to
you with
perceive.
a
The
weapon,
person has to have a rational fear, or a rational, justifiable fear of death and bodily harm. Correct?
but what black people are considering rational,
Yes,
that white
correct.
jury is not.
Correct or incorrect, sir?
Y'all lost. All I'm telling you,
No, I'm
look,
asking you. You're the one
don't
who
get
knows
your
the law.
hopes
You're the
up and
lawyer
think
over
that
here. You're the
Karmelo
one who
gonna
knows
walk
the
off.
law. So is it?
Yeah,
The
I do
person
know the
has
law.
to
That's
have
why
a
I'm trying to
rational
explain
fear
it. Y'all not listening.
No, listen. Does he have? Just answer the question. Is the fear of violence rational? Does he have to have a rational fear that somebody is going to commit, even if that person doesn't intend to? If that person threatens to do so, if that person makes the other person believe that they're going to do so, is that rational? If that rational for somebody to fear for their safety?
You can fear for your safety if you pull out a weapon in the midst of a physical altercation. If we just fighting and I pull out a knife and I stab you, that's manslaughter if you die. If we're fighting and we both pull out
that's
weapons,
not what happened.
now
That's
there's
not what happened.
self-defense.
That's not what happened. They weren't fist fighting,
Right.
and then he reached in his bag and pulled out a knife. Austin assaulted him by putting his hands on him. Then Karmelo grabbed the weapon and told him not to do it. He told him not to do it multiple times. Austin
That's
got
still
more aggressive.
manslaughter, y'all. That's still manslaughter.
Austin,
That's
it's
still manslaughter.
It's not manslaughter, sir. It would be self-defense, and it would be stand your grounds.
Okay, we're gonna see how it work out. Remember today.
And guess what?
I'm telling you what he's gonna be charged with, manslaughter.
Unfortunately,
Just check.
Austin was collateral. The same way Kyle Rittenhouse's victims, they were collateral. Austin's victim.
I don't care about
collateral
Austin.
in that situation.
I'm worried about what this young black man is facing. Fuck Austin. No one cares about Austin.
No. Look,
I'm talking about the black boy. We need to be prepared for the reality of what he's going through.
Like you, sir, he will. Because you're trying to make it you're defending Kyle Rittenhouse, but you don't want to apply the same flawed logic. You don't want to apply that in self-defense to Karmelo.
Karmelo would have to be in a position where he pulled out his knife, and if Austin came for the knife or if something else went on, then that's self-defense.
Austin doesn't have to come for the knife.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
He
yes,
wouldn't
he would.
have. Austin, all
y'all don't understand Texas law. You're going to find out. Y'all going to find out.
All he would have to, you know what? Get your ass off here. All he would have to do is is prove to a jury that he has a rational fear for his safety. That's all he would have to do. That the fear for his safety is rational. That's all he would have to do in that situation. And we got so many other people. I don't have time, honestly, to get to every single person. So I'm going to get to a couple more, but you guys got to be quick. Caller from area code 862. You're online.
Hello, it's Dinley Mess. I just want to say, under no circumstances, okay, I don't want to start like that. Family, please teach your kids how to fight, because one thing about these PC people is they love to take a lot of these wrestling classes. And another thing about these PC boys, I'm just going to say it, they're like wild animals. They don't have no home training. They're practically feral. So that's why they go around thinking they can do whatever the fuck they want to people. I know for a fact, Afro, if somebody comes near you in a threatening manner, you're going to do whatever you need to do to protect yourself. And hell, even animals in the wild, if you come up to them in a threatening manner, are going to do what they need to do to protect themselves. Only when it comes to us, because again, these PC people have this royalty mentality. They think that they can do whatever they want. They think that they're gods on earth and that they're untouchable. And like I said, under no circumstances, to my young black kids out there, these people are not nothing special. I'm not saying you in someone's life, but I'm saying protect yourself to the best of your abilities and let the court handle it out in a hopefully just this type of way. Also, I wanted to bring this other story up to you because this will
we gotta be
also
real
prove.
quick. We gotta be real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to end it after this. I'm going to say there's a story up in Missouri with this kid named Jordan Hill who was killed by a suspected white supremacist. Basically, he is a degenerate Confederate flag toting fool, and they're trying to sweep it under the rug. So, family, if you get the chance, please just look up that story because this boy was 10 years old, and they're trying to sweep this under the rug. That's all I have to say, B1.
All right, B1, brother. Thank you. All right. Let's get to this will be our last caller. I appreciate all of y'all. We have another thing call in soon. Caller from area code 931. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, my name's Mark. I'm calling from Tennessee.
Mark, what's on your mind?
One thing I gotta mention. If they wanted to really mess up Karmelo Anthony in this case, they can get him on this one thing right here. And I noticed that they haven't done it. But the age of consent when it comes to carrying a knife in Texas, do you know what the legal age is to carry a knife in Texas?
I'm not sure. What is it?
You can go look it up real time right now if you don't believe me. But the age of consent where you're legally able to carry a knife in Texas is 18 years old. They have not gotten Karmelo Anthony on that charge. They have not. But I will say this. And I enjoy your content, dude. And I'm giving you a content video real quick. I'm trying to be real quick about this because I know you had a lot of callers. But look up Judge Joe Brown's.
Actually, sir, you're incorrect. You're incorrect, sir. I just looked it up. You're incorrect. It says here, I literally just looked it up. It says, in Texas, the legal age to carry a knife, including knife blades, longer than 5.5 inches is 18. Minors under 18 are not allowed to carry a knife with blades longer than 5.5 inches unless they are on their own premise in their own vehicle under supervision of their parent or legal guardian. So that would only apply if the knife is longer than 5.5 inches.
I was going to say this with
No, I mean, well, we don't know how
developing-
long the knife is, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to assume this. I can't prove it, but I think in the next couple more days they're going to release the video of this, where we're going to get an aspect of seeing what's going to go on, and we're going to find out more of this in the details as the case prolongs.
All right.
But here is my conspiracy theory, though. I think where this, and when it comes to Karmelo Anthony, the jury that judges him, his peers that they pick for this, we don't know where that's going to be held at yet. We really don't know yet because it's still kind of a mystery. But wherever the jury that they pull from, that's going to be his peers, will really determine how this case is going to go. And I haven't heard a whole lot of people mentioning that. And I'd just like to hear your opinion, and I'll get off here. And
I mean, yeah, the location and the jury is gonna play a huge factor in this. It definitely is. It's gonna play a huge factor. I agree. So let's just hope everything is fair. So they're talking about relocating the venue, and if that's what the defense wants to do, I think that's where we should back that play. Okay, but I'm gonna have to get you off here because you sitting up here spreading misinformation. So we don't tolerate that here.
I didn't intend to. I was just asking you a question, like what?
No, not that part. Not that part about the knife.
Oh, about the knife.
Yeah, what you said about the knife was not accurate.
But you corrected me on that, so we're on good ground now.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, then. Well, we're going to have to wrap things up here. Oh, boy. Y'all got me on here for almost 4 hours. How'd y'all do it? How'd y'all get me on here for that long? I love y'all. I really do. To all of the callers, I appreciate you all so very much. Make sure that you guys tune back in, but we just couldn't do everybody. We just couldn't do everybody tonight. I wanted to, but we had like 50, 60 something callers. You know what I'm saying? So we can't do everybody. We couldn't do it. We almost here for damn near 4 hours already. So next time. But thank you all. Let me get this off the screen. Let me get to the last Cash App we got here, or the last two. Shout out to Cyberdyne. He says, keep up the good cooking, brother Afro. I definitely will, and I appreciate y'all's support. Shaq says, Unk off that Henny. Oh, yeah. Oh, some of the callers was wild. Not all of them. Shout out to, Torian and them, but some of the callers, they was wild. And you see how they got to change the rules, and I couldn't debunk all of them because I didn't have enough time. But what is stand your ground if you say, oh, you have to have the threat? No, you all you have to do is prove that there's a threat of harm, a serious threat of harm, that you, in your mindset, that you perceived this to be a threat to your safety, which is what he did. This wasn't a mano fight where they were in a ring and you had a blade. That's not what this was. See, they would have to make situations up in order for this not to be self-defense. Now they're trying to change the rules and bend the rules and all of that stuff. No. They might try to get them on a manslaughter. They might try. But from what we see, from what we know, this is self-defense. And we're going to keep backing up the family because this is self-defense. And he deserves legal representation in a community that supports him. I hope every single last one of you guys, if you guys didn't get my notification on this, make sure you guys follow me on my various social media platforms. That's Afro Elite on Instagram and then the Afro Elite on YouTube, of course, but Afro Elite on X. Make sure before you guys leave to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on anything, because we're definitely going to be keeping you up to date with this case. We also got other things that we want to cover, so make sure that you guys hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, so very much. I appreciate you all. We had a lot of people in here, gave a lot of good game. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so very much. Now, with that being said, Black first to every single last one of you all. Thank you all for watching. Again, I can't say that enough. Be blessed, family. Y'all stay safe.